to your garden, I eat from your tree, I step in your river, and it takes me deep. Your heart is my temple,
top right. There's 5 extra
tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams.
What's up, everybody? We're live. We're in the building. We got a full house tonight. Everybody hit that share button, hit that like button. We appreciate you in the chat right now. We see the comments coming in. We're going to get it rolling. You're watching Young Lion TV. Let's go.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding. Young lion.
That's right. You're watching Young Lion TV. We are live. It's Tuesday night. We just got back from a long trip, but we're here. We're going to talk about what's been going on for the last week. But we appreciate everybody who's here. We thank you for chiming in. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Emma chimed in, said hello, everyone. George said Tuesdays is always a vibe with my homies. That's right, man. We getting it going. Mom said love you guys. Love you too, Mom.
We love you.
Make sure you guys share this video. Make sure you hit the like button. I got Moan here with me today.
Hey.
Yes, sir. I got Jake and Stan, of course, as usual.
What up?
Hey.
And then we have by popular demand back again. He's the half black, half Indian with the Spanish last name,
That's
Mr.
right.
James Garcia, Build Right in the building.
What up? What up?
Yeah.
Got the
And
build right colors.
Build Right colors. He's very corporate today. He's very corporate. Brother been busy. And then we got John and Rachel holding it down over there. Appreciate y'all for coming into this evening. We get everybody in the building today. That's always a good vibe. But yeah, guys, we appreciate you for tuning in. Please hit that share button, guys. I mean, the algorithm does not take kindly to us, but we're streaming live on Twitch. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on Rumble now too. So if you're watching this on Rumble, please share it. We're really trying to expand what we're doing and get to audiences that, you know, really want to engage with the type of conversations that we have, the things that we talk about, the topics that we go over, because it's not for everybody, but we believe in what we're saying. So please share this video and hit that like button. And we have a Patreon. If you guys want to support the Patreon and you want to become Young Lions, you want to get involved and build this kingdom up, this pride of the Young Lions that we've been building, you know, you can go over there, patreon.com/YoungLionTV, and sign up for any one of the tiers that you feel like being a part of. And we're going to be having exclusive content on there and other little perks that you guys can, you know, enjoy. Also, we have merch. Oh, we have the Cash App if you want to throw some donations to the Young Lions as well. It's $ Young Lion TV. And all of that goes to us just getting better equipment, getting better gear, you know, getting merch for everybody that you guys can then enjoy. And you know, the T-shirts people have been buying them, so we appreciate that. Simone has the Young Lion merch on right now, our first T-shirt. Let's move that thing out the way so people can see the T-shirt.
And I was trying to show.
It's all good. It's all good. Moan's T-shirt is one of the first runs that we did.
Not my T-shirt. That's
the one you're wearing.
okay.
Hello. But it's just the young lion. You know, you saying that you're a young lion. You know, with the Ezekiel 19. You know, repping the Bible. You know, repping the what we believe in over here. So yeah, you can get one of those by. It's not up on our merch store yet, so you can get it by just sending $20 to the Cash App and, you know, putting a T-shirt in your size in the subject, so we know what that money is for. But if you want to get,
we're getting big sizes too.
Yeah, we're getting some more bigger sizes
for you husky.
Because Moan got all the people. He thinks everybody's his size.
That's not true.
So he got all smalls and mediums. But no, we appreciate those that been, you know, wanting to get the T-shirts. We love you guys. But if you want to get like this shirt here, that is at our merch store. Stan has one on as well. Yeah. Rocking the Jatan merch. It's on our website, jatan.com, where you can get all of our latest music and merch and stuff like that. CD, you can stream our stuff. But we have some new music coming out, and all of that stuff is going to be available pretty soon. Shout out to Stephanie. She said, hey, she said Facebook don't like nobody. That is very true.
They like some people.
Yeah, they like Red Table Talk.
Yeah. They love Red Table Talk.
They'll promote that. but they don't like this black table talk. That's what we got over here. We got, but yeah, how's everybody been? How was your weekends? I know we all saw each other. We were all together. Stan actually drove all the way down to DC to
it's fun time.
Be a part of. It was great having you there, man.
Just want to say I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah,
And he drove us back to Philly.
drove us to
Yeah,
Philly to then
yeah.
fly to LA.
Which was a surprise. I thought I was going to be riding back by myself. So
Oh.
that was a little cherry on top for
Yeah.
me to have some company coming back.
You know how Climax is run. It's like minimal information records. Yeah, get in this van and just drive to DC. You'll find out more information as you go.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
I should be asking you guys, how was your weekend traveling?
It was a lot, man.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot. It was a lot. We flew to Memphis on Friday, did a show for some, gala type thing. It was like a private event for some like college thing out in Memphis. Totally disorganized and it's funny when you do events and people want to do a lavish event and they want to have music, they want to have entertainment, but they have no idea what that takes.
Yeah.
So they just think, oh, just a band show up and there's instruments and you just play and sing and everyone has a good
what was
time.
the phrase?
And,
a hookup? Something?
Might get a hookup.
Might
Yeah.
get a hookup.
Yeah, but that's something that we've dealt with, especially for Jatan, like being on our level. Like you expect that people want to do events, they don't have an idea. But when you're spending tens of thousands of dollars to book Freddie
Yeah.
Jackson, you know what I mean? You would expect
Right.
that they would understand
Yeah.
that.
Well, there's no consequence to them either because you guys end up doing their job for them.
Right,
'Cause
and that's what happens. And then they have a successful event, and they look good,
Yeah,
not
it is.
understanding that it was all the low-level people
Right,
that were
right.
like breaking their necks.
Behind the
Because like
scenes,
I'm
yeah.
talking to the production
He don't know what's
manager,
going on.
I'm talking to the backline guy.
Yeah.
They're all like stressed out trying to pull this impossible thing off that these people didn't
Right.
plan properly. But we made it all work at the end of the day, and
Not impossible. With the Lord.
yeah, nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
I think that helps though with the attitude going in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're already ready for it.
yeah. That's
And
def-
they're coming up to Jamie like, you want me to get fired?
Yeah.
Somebody should get fired.
Well,
Doing-
Right.
I mean, we learned a lot.
We
And
did.
and I think that's one of the things, like him when he said that, like the issue is if nobody takes responsibility, the whole thing collapses.
yeah,
And somebody's got to fall on the sword. Somebody's got to take the hit, and whoever does that, now you can build off of that. And so we take the hit.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
even though like you can get caught up in like we shouldn't have to deal with this. This is not our problem, but you got to take it, and we got to humble ourselves every time, and we learn because every situation is different.
Yeah. In that situation, it was you had to set your boundary, but in almost like a loving way. You can't be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order
straight up-
for it to work, in order for
Right.
us to do what we have to do to get it, you got to set your boundary, or else it just won't. It's just gonna fall apart.
yeah.
yeah.
But you got to take the hit too.
And I think that like us
Yeah.
throughout the years, we've learned that like because we've, Dave was telling the story to some of the musicians about that show we did at Rowan University. Remember that show we did the talent show where we ended up having to run the whole thing, which is how we got the office.
That we didn't do.
You know what
we
I
were
mean?
supposed to perform.
That was
We were
Ru-
supposed
that
to
was Rutgers,
at
yeah.
Rutgers, yeah. We were supposed to perform there, end up not being able to perform, but then had to help them put on a successful show because it was so unorganized. I had to host, and everybody had to help like coordinate talent and do all this stuff that we weren't there to do.
Right.
But because we did that, we got this building. You know what I mean? So it was, sometimes you have to put aside, what you think you're entitled to, or
Every time.
Yeah, every time,
Yeah.
time, yeah.
yeah.
You let your frustration sigh out.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, here we go.
And then you
Yeah.
hold your ground where you have to,
Yeah.
because it's like when they're so unorganized. Like one of the issues was the scheduling of sound check and everything, and because showtime was supposed to be at a certain time, doors are supposed. They have an event that they have planned with speeches and presentations, and the whole president's going to be there, and everyone's dressed all nice, and there's dinner, and it's like okay. So they want people to start arriving at a certain time. So they don't want us up there sound checking while people are coming in to sit down and eat dinner.
Yeah.
But so you're supposed to schedule sound check and everything at an appropriate time. But what they didn't take into account is that the venue that they wanted to do this show in has a no noise ordinance until 5 p.m. So they didn't know this. So when they set up sound check time at 2 p.m. for us, it was like we got the call when we got the information when we got there, when we landed, like, sound check is going to be pushed back now. Y'all can't go there until about 4:45, which turned into about 5 o'clock, so then by the time we even got on stage to sound check, it's 10 minutes to 6.
Right.
And people are supposed to be coming in the door at 6 o'clock.
Right.
So now you want us to do a whole sound check of a full band so that, a guy that has a whole reputation of his show on the line, you want him to go on stage with no sound check. Like, that's not going to happen. So when people are coming up to me complaining and saying, like, yeah, we need this to hurry, we need this to, people are coming in, I'm like, there's nothing I could do. Like, until we're done and we're satisfied with the way things sound to a reasonable level. I'm not going to go extra on y'all. I'm not going to be up here tweaking every little thing.
Yeah.
But if we haven't
Just
even
to be able to get on stage.
If we haven't even turned a microphone on yet,
We don't know.
we're not going anywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you look at, like, James sees it, like, even to do this, how much prep you got to do to get it get it going. Like, there's a lot of prep, and we had some issues today, and like, there's always issues that come up, and you got to work it out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know this world, but I can tell you from you guys talking, I mean, you guys handle it well in your personality. For what I've known of you, you're not people who are confrontational in that sense.
Right.
But I can only imagine the disasters of why the music industry, especially live entertainment, has suffered because let's just say a band is booked and they're like, that's not our job.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Right.
And maybe they have a contract that says we get 80% up front. So whether y'all get that right or not, and things fall apart.
That's
So
the case.
That's the case. So
every
like,
time.
if you spent money, if I spent money to see
Right.
somebody that I love and I get there and that show don't go well, I'm not going back.
Right.
So a lot of times it's not just, we hear this narrative of, they don't like good music today. Well, what if we went and it wasn't a good experience?
Or what if you go and the artist never comes on stage and you don't know why?
We don't know why.
Yeah.
We don't know what's happening back there.
Because
And-
as far as the contract goes that was signed, and all the requirements that we have, and we had all our money, he was in the right to call breach and not do the show. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, that probably happens more often. What is one?
It happens every time.
yeah,
Right.
It doesn't. It happens nobody lives up to the contract.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
Ever.
Yeah.
So that's probably that's another
Yeah,
reason
ever.
why when people say, "Oh, the music today" or "things
Yeah.
ain't the way it was,"
Right.
Because maybe the talent or maybe the people, like you said, there's a lot of people who they say they can,
Right.
but can they?
Yeah,
You know what
and
I
they're
mean?
just thinking about how much money am I going to make, or how am I going to look putting this event together.
That's what it is. I think people now more than ever, you can really make a resume and make it look really good, but there's no proof of it,
Right.
Because no one is filming this, like,
Right.
The back.
yeah, the backstory.
You know what? Let me go back. There are people who do live up to the contract, but it's very rare.
It's
And when
rare.
it happens, it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
We're always like,
I mean, the show on Sunday, it was better,
but
You
it
know.
still wasn't what it should have been.
but that wasn't because of the promoters, and that wasn't because of the
It was, it was a little bit because of. There's a little bit in there because of the promoters.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to go into detail, but
Right.
there's still some. You know what I mean? Like that went on that shouldn't have went on. Like
yeah.
think there's a lot
with
of-
the organization of sound check and stuff like that.
there's a lot of hands off stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Are most of these gigs that you guys talking about R&B esque type?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes in that world it's like you deal with a lot of people that are just like trying to make some quick money, you know what I mean? But I mean the shows that we did Saturday and Sunday are from like a collective of like the biggest black promoters in the country. They're called like the Black Collective or something. I forget what they're called, but it's like they all
something
came
along that
together
line,
and started putting shows together. So like the Saturday show was Stephanie Mills and the Whispers and
Yeah.
Freddie.
Yeah.
And it could
Patti
have
LaBelle.
no, that wasn't Saturday.
Oh, you
It-
said
it,
Saturday.
It could have gone better as far as like just certain elements of it. And it's like with our contract, like, because you've heard the horror stories of artists talking about we want only green M&Ms and you know what I mean. We don't do any of that. We're like the most basic, chill. Like our rider compared to other people's, what we want on stage is basic. Like some of these artists, it's 300 keyboards on stage and they're playing 2 of them. You know what I mean? Like we don't do any of that.
Right.
We never go.
They want stuff on stage just so it looks
just
good
so it
up
looks
there.
nice. Yeah. Like,
But isn't that why the music industry, though? I mean, because buying records is one thing, but an artist or whoever they are, they're gonna make money on tour. So
Yeah.
if that goes bad, you're gonna rub people the wrong way.
Yes.
They're not gonna want to come back. I
Right.
want to deal with this.
Right, right.
Sitting around waiting this long.
yeah.
Spend all that money on food or whatever it is, especially
Yeah.
in the summertime when it's outdoor. It's whatever the climate is.
Yeah, but there is. I mean, the crazy thing is, like, there is tons. I mean, the show on Sunday, there had to be at least 15,000
At
people
least
there.
15.
You know what I
People
mean?
just put up with it.
They just want to see it.
Oh, they don't know. They don't. It to them it went smooth.
Yeah, they don't see all that stuff.
Yeah.
They just come in, they see a show, they have no idea what led up to that point, Or if they do see it, it's just like, oh, well, that person, like, if someone walks off stage or something, they don't understand it.
But can you see why those horror stories we hear from artists being divas? Can you see why they might act like that?
Sometimes, but also some of it is also entitlement too. Like it's both. Yeah.
Because you see it like every time. Okay, let me go back up. Almost every time we deal with sound guys,
Yeah.
most of the time they're jaded and they're pricks, but but the issue. But if you
Almost every time. Some of them are
that's
cool.
why I said almost
Yeah.
every time. But the reason why is because they deal with people,
They're so used to dealing with the musician attitude.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they just come into it with
Right.
a bad attitude.
Yeah.
And when we treat them well, 9 times out of 10 they change their attitude.
Yeah.
That's what's most people though.
Most of the time, they don't even know how to take us.
Right.
Because they're just like, why are you guys not being assholes? like,
Look here,
Right.
you guys are nice.
yeah, right. Like, you will thank them for,
Right.
and they're when you do that, they're just like,
Yeah.
what, really?
I mean, I can imagine the stress of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Taking on that.
Yeah, I mean, some of those guys are there all day and night. Like, literally, they're there at 6 a.m. and don't get done till midnight. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're there just, like, following orders, listening to people yell at them, telling them, I need this, I need that. Yo, when you get a second, give me this. You know what I mean? And-
Especially Friday.
Yes.
Like, they had a third band thrown in there. They didn't even know.
Yeah.
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 So they wanted 3 bands sound checked in less than an hour.
Wow.
And the stage was the size of this table. You know? So it's like,
So they're like,
they-
I actually ran into the bathroom with the dude that was running the backstage,
Yeah.
the black dude.
Yeah.
And I heard him on the phone like, man, because they asked him, I heard the dude, he was like, how's the show going? He was
Yeah.
like, a mess. And he was like, I feel bad for the bands, man. They're getting thrown into the
Yeah,
fire.
right.
But we're going to make it work. And I started laughing. And he saw me, he smiled.
Yeah, I kind of knew what it was. I was telling y'all, like, the night before we flew out, one of the production guys called me at like 10 p.m. and was like, I'm just trying to get some information. I saw your number on the thing. Like, do you know what time sound check is? Like, do you know?
Do
Like,
you know?
He's like asking me questions.
Wow.
I'm like, bro, I don't know anything. I'm hoping you're supposed to know. Like,
Would you guys consider, like, in the future, would you consider getting in that field, like, to have a company that does that? Or is that not?
it seems like a lot.
That's a lot of work.
It seems
dude.
like a lot, man. It seems like a big headache.
It's
And-
not
sound
what,
company?
It's not
Yeah.
what we do.
Yeah.
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 I think it's like
You have to have a passion for that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a passion for
I
that.
think there's
Like,
people who can and
Yeah.
will.
And there's people that do it really well, especially
Yeah.
backline companies. We've dealt with so many. Actually, backline companies for the most part are always like, except for a couple.
Yeah.
But most of them are like pretty on point.
They
They
know what
always
they're doing.
they always want to get with me ahead of time. We're always going through the list and making sure.
Maybe that's what it
everything's
is,
on
though. Maybe they're not. These guys are talented, but they're not thinking of the business aspect of it, like how to really operate it in a business. You know what I mean? So it becomes just putting things together, making sure it sounds good, or but really
It's
not.
it's a lot of it's a lot of miscommunication.
Yes.
And people don't talk, and a lot of times it's just from the door. Again, it's the foundation. who's putting on the show. A lot of times that's where it starts.
Yeah, promoters.
You know, and
You got a guy that has money that don't know, what he's doing.
Right. Or
This-
he wants to cut corners in every way possible to keep all the money in his pocket. You know what I
Right.
mean? So you get those ones too, where it's like they're picking us up at the airport in a in a small van that can only fit 2 people. You know what I mean? Like
that can get you a
yeah, right. Stuff like that. You know,
Like-
or they hire a backline company that only has they don't have any of the gear we need, so they're trying to substitute everything out. Stuff like that. They don't have enough stage hands, so you've got 2 people trying to do everything for all these bands. No one can plug in that many cables that fast. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. People don't understand this. Just to get a drum kit mic'd up, a drummer. You're playing a live show. The drummer is one of the most important things of a live show. Every single drum has to have its own microphone. So you're talking about at least 10 mics with cables.
which is gonna take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, and then if you have multiple bands, we had on Sunday, 4 bands,
3 drum kits.
everyone has their own drum kit.
Because nobody wants their stuff
No one
touched.
wants to
That's
share.
another. That's another.
No one wants to touch.
Another
Yeah.
annoying thing.
Yeah.
Where you can't move that stuff. How?
Yeah. Don't
where
move
we,
our stuff.
Where are we gonna go, bro?
Don't move our stuff.
Yeah.
Don't touch our stuff.
Also, they put it on stage and
So the way they set it up is the band that's going last, the act that's going last, for Sunday, for example, that was Patti LaBelle. She was the closer. So her band sound checks first, and they're all the way in the back of the stage. And then next would be Gladys Knight's band. They set them up in front of them, on the risers, the drums up there, and then they're in front. And then in front of them was Stephanie Mills' stuff. And then in front of them was Freddie Jackson's stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see.
So that's how but everyone has their own gear. Everyone has their own keyboards. Everyone has their own drum kit, bass rig, everything. So it's guitar, amps, So you have all that gear on stage, and everything has to be mic'd up. Everything has to be plugged into a channel. There was literally so front of house you have, and then the other thing that people don't understand is you have the front of the house. That's what the audience hears. But when you play a show, the band has to hear too. So you have another guy that's mixing just for the band backstage.
Yeah.
oh wow.
So
To what everybody likes.
yeah. So for that show, they literally had 3 mixing consoles because a mixer usually has 32 channels on it. If you have all these bands, every channel is a mic, or an input. So if you have all this gear, they had 3 different consoles backstage to accommodate all these bands. Then in front of the house, they got 3 more consoles to accommodate all of that.
I remember a time not too long ago where this is the point in the conversation where I would have said, wait a second, can you go back 7 sentences to regroup? But now,
You're following.
Now I
You're
follow.
following.
Now I know
John
what-
has checked out many
now
minutes
I know
ago.
what comes next. Yeah. Anyway,
I was just gonna say, you give it a little too.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they're not following.
Well, I mean, I'm talking to James though.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
I know
yeah,
what
but
you're
we're
saying.
also talking to.
Yeah, I mean, did they have questions they can ask them? But
no, but it's good information.
Yeah, that
It's
was
a
pretty
lot
good, I
of
think.
a lot. It's a lot.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
not a
I'm
little bit.
Just to show how much goes into a show
Right,
like
right.
that people don't even think about.
Yeah,
you know
they
what
don't.
I mean?
They don't.
So when you have all those moving pieces and then you have a promoter that's trying to cut corners, it makes that whole process 10 times worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the biggest issue is perspective, because most people promoter only cares about himself. I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of the times it's about how he looks, right? We did the show on Friday. It wasn't it was about how they looked.
Yeah.
The organization, how they looked, right? Because it was all about the show. That's why they did it in a place where it was horrible for performances.
Yeah, yeah.
They did it in a venue.
we were literally in a old bank that was
Yeah, it was all marble.
yeah, everything was marble.
High
It was a
ceilings.
beautiful building,
Yeah,
beautiful.
it was nice.
In downtown Memphis, old ass bank.
Yeah.
They had our green rooms was literally down where the vault, the giant vault door is.
okay.
It was the first time I ever went inside a bank vault, but it was
Not good for sound.
horrible for a show.
Yeah.
Totally acoustically terrible. Soon as you hit one drum, it's just boom, 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 boom. Because it's all solid marble walls
that's right,
everywhere.
right.
That you can't do a show there.
But so that starts it, because it's all about, it's not, nobody, when you don't understand that, you only really want to care about what you look like.
Yeah.
Right? So then that starts it. And then if you only care about yourself, you don't care about the people who You don't care about the artist. You don't
Yeah.
care about any of that. It's really just how can I give them the bare minimum, and their bare minimum isn't even the contract that they
Yeah.
because
Bro.
they thinking, and then it don't even fit the standards of the actual contract
Right.
most of the time. So it starts there, and then everybody deals with that.
Right.
Like, so they have a perspective. The sound people have a perspective. The artists have a perspective.
Yeah.
Right. And it just all clashes. So we come into it like, okay, God, what are you
Right.
doing here? That's why every time we learn a lesson.
Yeah.
Because it's like every time there's an obstacle, but we can't get frustrated, and it's hard when
Yeah.
people are straight up disrespecting you.
Mhm. and not understanding because they're just worried about how they look.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what I was dealing with at that show. It's
Like-
just like everybody's like,
Right.
they're getting upset. The president's here. They don't want you guys on stage anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry. Like,
Yeah. And
I
it,
should have planned better.
and then it becomes disrespectful, and you got to know how to handle that because you can't get upset, you can't get mad, and then like to the point where like we got to ask them, are you guys giving us food that you're supposed
Yeah.
to give us?
Right.
And then they don't even.
No one
know-
has answers.
Nobody
Yeah.
has answers like
Yeah.
that. It's that bad. Like with the show another show we did, like they even like with the food situation, like they will do the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
They will do the bare minimum, give you food. Like probably 80% of the time we have almost unedible food.
Yeah.
Right?
Inedible.
By
but,
the inedible. Okay. By the probably
Oh, it's edible. It's edible.
edible.
It's not, you know.
technically edible.
yeah. By like the cheapest caterer they could possibly
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
Right. And
What
I
you
was-
mean? What you mean? They had a chef, bro.
That's my point. So I was just about to get into that. So that's part of what I wanted to say
Yeah.
because everybody cares more about how they look.
Yeah.
That's title.
Yeah.
You want to be something before, like you can't give yourself a title, right? Right? You can't. If you're like a carpenter can't give himself the title. He can, but the problem is you have to have a master give you that title because they know when you're ready to be called that, right? If a carpenter like they learned a couple things and they go
Yeah.
out there, I'm gonna do this.
Right.
People like it's easy for people who don't know much to see. Okay, he don't know what he's doing, and that's what happens. So like we have this guy calling himself chef, and you can find out in 2 seconds like
Yeah.
he ain't no chef,
Right.
Right, but he wants to call himself that.
Cooking chicken nuggets on a hot plate.
But that's the issue because like then people start hating
It
titles.
really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
He's
He
a hustle
really
man.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
Chitlin loaf.
Yeah, chitlin loaf. Yeah.
So then you get the situation where titles become meaningless,
Yeah, yeah.
right? The title of a promoter, the title of a musician, the title of
Yeah.
an art, like these things become meaningless because you can just call yourself that.
Especially
And-
now, because people love that.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, because it's more about the
CEO,
look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a
right.
boss,
All that
I'm a
stuff.
This,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's always a learning thing because, like Jake was saying, we in the situation we always have to remember like we're just there to do a job. So
Yeah.
we're the workers. Like we have to make sure that whatever's going on with where the promoter's dropping the ball and where the tech people are dropping the ball. We have to make sure that doesn't affect what Freddie has to do.
Yeah.
So we have to marry all those egos and expectations together and still pull off a show at the end of the day.
Yeah,
That's all we
we're
care
serving.
about.
We're
Yeah.
serving him, and so that he has something that he can work off of.
Yeah.
And it's good for us because we learn.
Yeah.
We learn how to. We have our own music, we do our own thing, but I believe, and I believe this is what God has shown us through this whole thing is that, like, if you serve others, then you're gonna be promoted.
Yeah.
But you can't try to put yourself first and insert yourself, and that's what happens. Like people always trying to insert themselves in everything. Like people, like you see it. Everybody's looking for an opportunity to. Well, I got my own thing going on.
Yeah.
And it gets in the way. But when you just trust God, you don't got to worry about doing any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm here to do this thing. God's going to he's going to provide what I need. He's going to be able to, like the amount we get paid for what we got to go through, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I would not do it if I was caring about the music.
Yeah.
We do it because that's where God has us. We do it because God's got a plan for our lives, and we have a call in that industry right? So that's where we get the value from and the wealth from. The money, y'all know, like, we don't do it for the money at all, you know.
Yeah.
And it's also honed your patience.
Yeah.
You know, over
Absolutely.
time, this cultivates patience.
Yeah.
Because the more often you deal with it, it's like, like I said, I remember one time this, the soldier told me when they train, they put these guys through a version of a stress to see how they handle it, and the ones that make it are the ones that move on, and because they know how to handle it. You know?
Right.
So the more stress you put yourself through, and it's funny because we're going in the opposite now, where people don't want any stress
Right.
at all. I want the easiest thing I can find.
I want no adversity.
They want their food separated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Don't
sauce.
let my food touch.
Yeah.
No sauce.
Y'all remember the story with the girl with no sauce?
You went to college?
Had to leave. Had to
With
leave
no
college
sauce.
because her parents gave her no sauce her whole life. Made sure no one ever gave her sauce.
Or she even saw sauce.
No, couldn't even see it.
Yeah.
As soon as she went to college, they were like, her parents tried to get them to not give her sauce.
But
and
that's
they
the
were
thing,
like,
though. How
"Please."
do we teach people that adversity and these kind of things are actually good if you could slow down and see the lesson in it? Like, it's not. It's. I'm sure this, as much of it's annoying, you guys know it's coming, but it has made you better men. It has made you more patient. You know what I mean? How do people see it? Because I feel like now more than ever, people are trying to avoid any kind of those things. You know what I mean? But it does.
It's character building.
Yeah, it builds character in you.
Yeah, I think you just you have to prepare your family and your kids for the realities of these things and teach them that, like, yo, not
gonna
ever,
come.
yeah, and it coming is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think like it's not like you're not gonna find that in the world because
Right.
that's like literally like when it says foolishness to men, like the things of God are foolishness to men, right?
Yeah.
It's foolish to
Yeah.
to let somebody disrespect you.
Yeah,
It's foolish, right? It's foolish to be patient. Forgive them. They don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing.
turn the other cheek.
And it's suffering. Like Jesus said it, you're going to have trouble in the world, but I've overcome the world, right? We're going to suffer in the world. Like people can like, and I see like when I see Christians like talking about they're going to fight back and all this, like I'm not fighting back until God shows me what to do. Because and I'm saying like physically, because we're supposed to give our lives totally to him. Right. And that's hard to do. That don't make sense in our mindset in this world. You know?
What they mean react? Like how they're reacting to you, react like that. They're saying if they do this, you do the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because so many
That's
people
not
like
gonna work. Yeah.
give back the same energy they give. You know how many times we hear that?
Yeah.
Like
Same
as
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Yes.
Yeah.
But you take that to God, and then that's the thing. It's love.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Like we're learning, like how to raise our families in that type of love. Like, but you can't. You got to be that love. Like you got to be that example. That's hard.
Yeah,
That's hard because, and I think where the church has kind of missed it for a while, and we might be getting back to is that the church has been trying to like prove themselves to the world. It never works
Right.
because then you get caught up in that dichotomy, like you're trying to prove yourself.
Yeah.
That thing just swings back and forth, right? You're always a hypocrite in that. You're acting. You know what I mean? Like I hate. Like we were talking about titles. I hate titles because everybody who has a title. So now I'm fighting against that.
Yeah.
You know, and you just become the same thing.
Yeah.
You become the mirror image. It's just backwards.
Right.
It's inverted. So what God does is he teaches us to trust him in everything we're going through, no matter how crazy it is, no matter how hard it is. And then in that, he gives us strength to continue. And it literally like, I see it like literally it's a mirror again, but we look at Jesus in terms of how he sees us. And then we see things in a way or a perspective that we've never saw it before. That gives us the strength to continue in something that looks foolish and looks dumb.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
sometimes
mean?
it can come to me, I feel like two things can happen, right? Like when you see something you can immediately equate like this is probably not the best way to act, and you learn from that. Like you guys were saying on the last podcast I was here with your dad, you guys saw your dad interact with his dad and got into a fight. You immediately made a decision like that.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
That's not.
You know what I mean? Like but then it could also be the opposite. Like that's right. Like Jaden Smith. That's
yeah,
right.
Right. That's how we do
That's
it.
how you-
Yeah. That's
could
how
do-
we
you
do
know,
it. Yeah.
You could do. I saw the weirdest. Well, not the weirdest. It was crazy. I'm in Philly. I'm working in Philly. There's a little bit of a traffic situation. This person's behind another person. Decide that the person's not moving fast enough. Gives them the beeps the horn and gives them the middle finger before they. So he basically gives them the middle finger and tries
And
to
pulls
dip.
off. Yeah.
Well, the other person backs up and takes off after them. And this weird pursuit in a parking
Oh,
lot
my God.
began. And they're just
What?
and now the person is screaming like help.
Yeah. When keeping it real goes wrong.
This person's Jason.
In a parking lot.
Y'all seen that movie with Russell Crowe?
Yes,
Where he
yes,
like
Unhinged.
follows
Oh,
that
yeah.
lady. Yeah,
Unhinged.
it's like,
Unhinged.
maybe
it's
don't
called.
flip people
Yeah.
off. You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that really was what it was. And
Wow.
finally, the person just left. But it was just a weird. And they went around the park, and he's like,
People
tires
feel
screeching.
safe in their cars, bro. Like,
but the person did it.
Yeah.
Like F you and,
yeah,
dipped out.
Yeah.
And he's like,
it was like, nope. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what Jake's talking about. That's
Yeah.
that like.
you could choose in that
Yeah.
moment what you want to do.
Yeah. And you have to be able to willing to let stuff like that go.
Yeah, let it go.
Because it could escalate. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, look at the Chris Rock and Will Smith thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to love people to love you back. It's not easy to love somebody when they're doing that stuff to you. You know?
Yeah.
It's not easy to love somebody. Like Jesus, when he says turn the other cheek, it's like, sounds good,
Yeah.
know, but how many people are actually, taking that?
But, not to change the subject, but I do want to mention that, the good thing about traveling this weekend was never had to wear a mask. Not one time.
On
right?
the plane, in the airport.
Yeah, that was refreshing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like being able to be in the airport,
Right.
even like the flight attendants, like they totally lost that one thing of power that they had. And
Right.
I know you saw a lot of
You're
them.
right.
They didn't
You're,
wanna
you're
do
right.
it.
I'm glad you said that word.
Yeah.
It is power.
Yeah, right.
It is
Right,
power.
right?
You know what I mean?
Because they love being able to.
They love
they some of them, and not all of them.
Not
There
all
was
of them.
always like those
Sure,
one or
sure.
two on a flight that would just be walking up and down the aisles, looking at everybody,
Them
waiting
masks.
for that thing to just be a little bit below your nose,
Right.
sir, your mask, sir, your mask. Someone fell asleep and their mask is down, and like wake them up. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I think people just they get off on that.
Yeah.
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 But we didn't have to do and everybody was super nice. And then now they're making the announcement like, please respect people's decision if they want to or not wear a mask. You know what I mean?
Right.
On the planes because, they don't want people now, the Karens, which Rachel has a story for us, I'm assuming. But the Karens that want to like yell at people because there's so many videos of them.
But then that's the whole point of the whole thing. Is if you're uncomfortable, wear one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all
Problem
it is.
solved.
And everyone who was and wore a mask, no problems.
Yeah.
You wear fine.
Take that
Fine.
mask off.
Right.
Yeah. Like, why
Right.
are you? Yeah.
No one is coming at them saying, "What are you, an idiot?"
Did you hear
it's a
the
power
announcement?
dynamic.
Did y'all hear the announcement in LAX though?
What?
They had an announcement that was saying you have to wear your mask.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
But nobody was wearing it.
Yeah,
I think it was.
that's just
I
still,
think it was for the kids.
that's
They-
residual from last month.
No, they said for kids.
Was it a recording?
No, I said 2 years and older.
Yeah. It said
Did-
2 years and older.
did it 2
All
years and
people
older?
2 years and
Yes.
older are still required to wear a mask.
Yeah.
But I think again, like that announcement has probably just been in place from the beginning, and they just stopped. They never
Yeah,
stopped
it's all
running.
the
it.
running.
Hoping that people will just still listen. You know?
No one's listening.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere we went in LA,
Apparently,
there was
I
no
didn't
masks.
listen.
But
I was
there were-
wondering if in LA if they were gonna.
Yeah, there
you
was
know,
definitely more people wearing masks in LA than anywhere else.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one last question: how was the Memphis barbecue?
Jake didn't go.
I didn't go.
I got some ribs. Jamie got the same
I'm never
thing.
satisfied with the barbecue.
Yeah, we got.
No, it's
me and
hard
you-
to please your
me and
tongue,
you got
by
the
the
same
way.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yo, the gumbo.
The gumbo
was,
was
good.
delicious.
The gumbo was good,
The gumbo was good.
and
The bread was so freaking good.
the
dude.
bread was good.
I enjoyed that so much.
It wasn't that like you know how sometimes you go to barbecue place and it's just like a piece of white
white
bread.
bread. I was like, I wasn't gonna eat it, but
Well,
I,
Moan to eat bread. Because
Yeah.
Moan do
Yeah,
push up
right. No, you know he was
No
complaining.
carbs.
I saw 2 tears come out each eye. Like every time he took a bite, a tear just dropped down. Like, you know, but
I ate
10
the whole.
burpees. 10
I ate the
burpees.
whole piece of bread. It
You
was
know
like
what?
thick
You know what
too.
you hear the whole time? Like the whole time we're. What do you hear, Jamie?
I'm being fat right now. I'm being fat. Oh, I'm gonna be fat today.
Yeah.
I'm just being fat.
Yeah, the whole time.
Because I usually don't eat like I eat like that when I'm away.
But you don't gotta let everybody.
Everybody,
know.
don't,
I mean,
everybody don't need to know.
Y'all on the plane. You're like, yo, where's Moan? He's like, I'm pushing it. I gotta burn these calories.
Yeah, right. I got to burn these calories. It's funny. But yeah, I mean, you know, we've been to Memphis before, but
Yeah.
we went to Beale Street and it was cool. We were gonna go.
It was happening, right?
They were telling us to go to this place called BB King's. So we were gonna. They were like, "Oh, that's barbecue's real good."
But it's the same BB Kings from everywhere.
I don't know. I couldn't
don't
tell.
know.
But we
But
did.
it was
We walked up and all I heard was like loud ass
yo,
music.
loud as heck.
So I'm like, yo, if that's on the inside, I'm not going in there. You know? And of course,
Yeah, he opened
of course,
the door, it was
Jordan,
like, nah.
Jordan still like wanted to go, so he's like walking in, looking around. I'm like, I'm not going in there, dude.
Yeah.
So we went across the street to a different place, and
Was it like a nightclub?
yeah, no. So it's like a music venue and barbecue place, bar kind of thing, BB
yeah.
King's, but they had a band playing like sound like bluegrass or something, but they
Yeah.
was so loud.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'm not.
I don't
going
wanna
in there.
sit through that.
We just got done sound check. Like, was that before or after sound check? Oh, it was before.
I think it was before.
It was before, but I knew what we were going to be. You know, a long day. I'm like, I don't want to sit here and eat with loud music blasting. So we went across the street, and then we were about to walk out of there because just
ignorant.
bad service. Like,
Yeah.
what? I don't understand. Like, we walk in, no one's there, no host is there, and then we're standing there for like 3-4 minutes. No one comes up to us, and there's a dude standing there that works there clearly because he has one of the shirts on, and he's not saying nothing. He's just kind of talking to somebody else. So Phil, the drummer, was like, he was like, "Hey, do we just seat ourselves?" And he looked at Phil and he was like, "Man, you know good and well y'all don't seat yourselves. Come on, man." And then we all like, bro, like
That was an invitation for you to do it.
we don't know. First
We
of
know
all,
that.
we don't know. Y'all ain't. No one's here.
Yeah.
And then like he saw we kind of got a little mad at that, and he was like, "Nah, I'm just messing with y'all, man. Yeah, but you don't seat yourself, man. Somebody she over there, she gonna come seat y'all." So then finally she comes over and seats us, and then we sat down at the table, and I was like, "Yo," what did I say? I said,
How long do we wait until we leave?
yeah, and I said, how long do we wait before they come over and we just leave?" And somebody said,
I said 10 minutes.
He said 10 minutes. So then Steve put on a timer. So we're sitting there.
Rob put on the timer.
Okay. So we're sitting there, and I think it was like 3 minutes in, someone came. So I was like, all right. And I told her, I was like, you just made it. You just made it. Because to me, 10 minutes was too long.
Yeah,
so
Terry
that's
said, "Oh, long
Yeah,
time."
I was like, I would wait 4 minutes, but you know,
And there's always those places too, man. Like
yeah.
that
Was it busy?
never seem to get it right.
Not really.
Nah,
There was
dude,
empty seats.
There was like 20,000 people working there, and they're all just talking and
Yeah,
and you know what I
family,
mean?
probably family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just the typical like, and then they took our order or whatever, and
I knew it wasn't gonna be good.
yeah, they had the food, like you could see it when you walk out, like they had a lot of the stuff already made in like in the like the catering stuff.
Yeah.
So when we were walking by it, I was looking like, but it was better than I expected, but it wasn't
Yeah.
nothing to write home about.
It wasn't worth the
Yeah.
price.
Definitely not worth the price.
I mean, I've had better ribs at
we had better
restaurants.
ribs in Nashville.
Yeah,
Yeah,
At
Nashville.
that place we went.
It
in
wasn't.
Nashville.
It wasn't seasoned. I had to put on the little seasoning thing they had on there.
Yeah,
That sucks.
yeah, but it
The
was
whole
all right.
time, I'm like, I want Stan's brisket right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna do another one. Another one. of
that
these.
brisket was really good. But let's get into. Rachel said she had a story for us, so
Let's hear it.
it's story time with Rachel.
Okay, so my sordid tale. I called Jamie like right after this happened, and I was like, "Boy, do I have a story for you!" But I was like, "All right, well, let me save it." So, preface, like 18 months ago, I adopt this dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
This dog is running loose in Philly, and I adopt
This dog has a whole TikTok channel now, by the
This
way.
dog
right?
has a TikTok channel. He's going
That's
to
a
be
table of dog lovers right there.
way more famous. No, I'm not a dog lover. I tell the dog all the time my famous last words to him are, I'm not a dog person, every time he comes up to me. But he's a good dog. He's smart. My dad says in his South Philly accent, like, Rachel, he's human. He's human-like. So I kept him because he's a good boy. And I'm trying to provide, like, a little bit of companionship in the house for the kid. And, like, they get along. Boy and his dog, it's good. So I'm going into work today. I bring the dog with me because I have to go into the office. I'm working by myself. And I'm trying to train him. So I bring him with me.
What work are we talking about here?
I'm doing some administrative work for a friend.
Okay.
So what I was telling you about earlier,
Yeah.
you know, sorting out some implementing a new system for somebody's business that they needed help with to get all of their paperwork and all of their official documents the way they need to be. You know, everybody kind of let everything go during the pandemic because it's like everything shut down. Who cares? So I started that a couple of weeks ago, and it's during the daytime. I kind of make my own hours, so I bring the dog with me. So I stop at Starbucks because I need to get my coffee before I go in. I have the dog with me. I leave him outside for a couple of minutes. So I have a little stop sign. I look around. There's a homeless man on one side of this corner and a stop sign close to him. And I'm like, all right, let's not put the dog too close to him. Let's put him on this other side. So do y'all know what a gentle leader is? Have you seen those before?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so a gentle leader is not a muzzle, but it's a little strap that goes around when you're training a dog so that you have a strap around his mouth that connects to his leash. That way,
Are you aware of this, John?
when you're training, he's not able to just kind of pull and have full control because that can get really frustrating and tiring as you're trying to train an animal.
Mine's on the chest.
So it gives the trainer a little more control as you're working with the animal. So when I tie him up with his leash and his collar and this gentle leader, and I give him a couple feet of lack so that he can sit and wait for me, but that's it. He can't move to the left. He can't move to the right. He can't start jumping on people. He can't get overstimulated by dogs. He has enough room to sit. So I'm waiting for my coffee. This is poppin' Starbucks. It's like 10 minutes I'm waiting for this coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm checking on the dog every minute and a half or so. I go over to the window. I look out at him. I make eye contact. I let him know I'm still in the mix. I'm coming back for him.
Right.
I go back and check the bar for my coffee. The Starbucks is popping. Mobile orders coming in. 25 people in this Starbucks waiting for their breakfast sandwiches. Everyone's running to and fro.
And
So
Starbucks has a worker shortage right now, by the way, too. So
Okay, makes sense. There weren't
Makes
as many
sense.
of them as there usually are. So I look outside and there's this woman on the ground. She is all up, all over the dog, like hands all over him. So I make my way towards the door and I'm looking outside. I'm like, what is going on here? So I see that she's like loosening and fixing his leash, like not taking him off, but giving him what would look like more freedom, right? Like making him more comfortable.
Man,
Because you're-
touching somebody's dog.
because you are an evil person who tied your dog up.
Oh, just wait. Just wait. So, and this is a story about how, you know, old Rachel.
Turned upside down.
Exactly. And
South
Rachel,
Philadelphia.
Rachel got screamed at, but remained calm, which is like, I have to tell this. This is a monumental story, right? So, so I poke my head out. I'm looking at what she's doing, and I'm like, all right, she's just fixing his leash. Whatever, right? I'm not gonna get all involved. I'm go see if my coffee's ready. So she turns around. She's like, sees me looking at her. She's like, is this your dog? And as soon as she like puts this all together, she is big mad, like big mad. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like halfway in, halfway out the door. And she starts getting up and coming to me with a fury. And she's like, why would you do this? This is unacceptable. I can't believe this. She's like, 4 people have walked by here and said how disgusting this is. So I automatically, like my brain said, oh, not without coffee. And I said, I'll be right outside. And I went back inside and shut the door. So I go back and I check for my coffee. A couple minutes later, she comes storming in and yells in my face in front of 25 people in Starbucks, "I'm going to publicly humiliate you," and shakes her finger at me. Like, she is close.
She already made 3 tweets about it, and she tweeted the ASPCA.
She was ready. She was big mad. This was going down, right? So the whole Starbucks is now looking at her and looking at me. I'm not really giving her eye contact because I saw her starting to come into my space and begin the tirade, and I was like, I need to not stare her down because it's just going to escalate everything.
Right.
So she's berating me, and then I think kind of realizes how insane she looks and goes back outside and stops publicly humiliating me. So the young girl, who's 23, all doe-eyed next to me, right, goes, I do that. I leave my dog tied up outside all the time.
It's a dog.
And I'm like, yeah, rescued him, been taking care of him for 2 years, but I can't get a coffee. It's fine. You just kind of sarcastically laugh with her for a second. So I look back outside. Let me wrap this up as quickly as possible. So I look back outside. This woman is still touching the animal. Like, she's back down on her hands and knees, hands all over him, very close in his personal space. So at that point, I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, all right, now I got to go outside. So I go outside. Coffee's still not ready. I'm like, should I leave? And then at the same time, I'm like, Starbucks is expensive. So I go outside.
You don't leave that coffee.
You don't leave that coffee. Plus, I got to go work for 3 hours, and I need something to, get me through the paperwork.
Yeah.
So I go outside, and I very calmly maintain my composure and walk up to her and say, step away from the dog.
Dun, dun, dun.
Step away from the dog.
Which she immediately did, and I waited for her to physically remove herself before I entered his personal space. And he, mind you, is just like, I don't know what's happening.
Right. And she don't, she better chill, because she don't know that dog don't know you.
People don't care about getting bit. They're not getting slapped in the face anymore. They don't care about getting bit by dogs.
Right.
No one cares about anything. So she does back up. She listens, because I didn't say it in a threatening way, and I wasn't physically threatening, but I did mean it. Like, step away from my animal right now.
Right.
So she did. And I bend down, unloop the one loop that he's tied through, and reattach all of his accoutrement, his leash, his leash buckles. So she's berating me this entire time as all of the 25 people in Starbucks are still watching this from inside now. And she's like, I can't believe this. Her famous words this entire time were, you're gross. You're gross. You're disgusting.
So what was she mad
You're
about?
gross.
Like,
So
just
she
because
The fact that the dog was tied up, period.
So he was tied up, and she was like, I can't understand how you would do this to an innocent animal. He's out here, and he's scared, and he's shaking, and his tail is between his legs. Like, she probably walked up on him in the 160 seconds where I hadn't made a face at him through the window, and a truck or a bus went by, and he was like, oh, a truck went by.
Yeah.
I'm not with my owner. But, he's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes we all get startled by a bus. It's going to be all right. So I grabbed the dog, and she's still yelling at me and saying, now she's mad. She's like, get the leash off of his face. What's wrong with you? So I now take him back into the Starbucks with me, because at this point, the baristas and everybody are seeing this go down. And I'm like, I'm just bringing the dog. I got to get the coffee, whatever. So I go inside. I see my coffee. It's not my coffee. I pick it up. It says Raphael, not Rachel. No. And I'm like, oh, almost.
So close.
So close. I put it back down, and I tell the baristas, I'm like, hey, can you give me a holler, a little woot-woot, when Rachel's coffee is up through the window? And they smile real big at me, and they're like, Rachel, got you. And I walk back outside. She is still waiting for me. Oh, best part. Her little frou-frou chihuahua,
Oh, she had a
poofy
dog, of course.
was tied up to the other pole.
Oh. Okay.
Because she had to stop and
Right.
berate me about my dog.
So she needed to tie her dog up first to tell you about it.
So
he made his way out the street. He's ran over by a car. She's worried about you.
So I come back outside. She's still yelling at me about how the leash is on his face. So I was like, calm. And I said, ma'am, do you know what a gentle leader is? Because, you have a dog.
Right.
Do you know what a gentle leader is? And I gave her that. I gave her that interaction, because I'd been ignoring everything up to this point. The only thing she'd gotten from me was step away from the dog, ma'am.
Right. And she's going to let you know.
So I said, do you know what a gentle leader is? She's yelling things, right, in response to that. Never like coherent back and forth, just yelling more. And I said, ma'am, I work with dogs. Like, I train animals, and I rescued this one. So she yells back at me, no, I volunteer. I know what I'm talking about. How could you ever do this? And I had to stop and tie up my dog because you're abusing your dog.
This
He's
is
still
great.
swinging your leg.
This is great.
So at that point, she's getting closer to me physically. So I said, all right, we're going to end this right here and now. And I pull out my phone and I said, ma'am, you're harassing me. And this woman walks in between us, by the way. So she's berating me, and I say quietly, ma'am, you're harassing me. And this woman from nowhere walks between the two of us, is like, excuse me, ladies, and rolls her eyes really big. Like, you two idiots should both shut the hell up.
Right.
And I was like, shout out to you, because you're right.
Yeah.
So she's still yelling, and I say, if you don't stop harassing me, I'm going to call the police. And I have my phone in my hand. And she's like offended and can't believe that I would say that. And she's like, I'm harassing you.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? So that was just an idle threat. But it was to kind of break her out of her, like,
Right.
stop walking closer
You had to beat her
me.
to it because that was coming from her next in a second.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, who are you going to call? Like, what are you talking about? You're going to call animal welfare as you
Yeah.
sit out here screaming at me, looking absolutely crazy for no reason. So at that point, Starbucks guy, who is windmill arm, busy serving coffee, they're understaffed. One
Yeah.
of them comes all the way outside to hand me my coffee, and he opens the door cheerily and hands me my coffee and says, here you go. And I say, thank you. And he says, you're welcome. And we have this like beautiful little exchange in front of her. And then I'm like, come on, Logic. And the two of us walk off.
Right.
But that might have been like, that was a lot. That not too short of a time ago, that might have been a very different
Interaction.
where like, because like your heart is racing, like someone's out here like screaming at you and physically inserting themselves into your space. But yeah, I was pretty proud because I held it together.
Yeah, good job.
And I still got my coffee.
What are you laughing at there?
If it was with Leo would have knocked that lady over. She would have jumped on it.
Yeah.
And the dog was good too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like he read my signals, which were we're not getting involved. Like we're not here for this today.
Yeah.
And I think like I don't know, there's a strength in being able to have self-control and not feed into somebody's trying to draw you into a battle.
Okay, well, I have
Absolutely.
a question. I found someone on the internet, and I wanted to know if this is the woman
I think that's the
that you're talking about. Oh, John done walked away right when we needed him to play a video.
Where you going, bro?
Wants to be.
Just wanted to see if this is the lady that you're talking about here.
Ladies, if you get pregnant, run on down to the abortion clinic and have that little bastard suck my
Yeah, that's her.
That's her.
F them kids.
Yeah.
F them
so.
kids.
F them
Yeah,
kids.
That's her.
Yeah, it's funny because as you're telling the story, I'm thinking like this woman probably is like so mad about this abortion thing though. But
That's
a
probably why
dog
she out
tied up
there.
on the corner is the end of the freaking world.
Wait, are we joking about that?
What?
That's her.
Yes, we're
Lord,
joking.
someone please help
Lord
this guy.
Jesus.
Someone please help him. Man,
Hey,
of
man.
course that was a joke. I mean, that was a real video, but it was a joke trying to say that was the same woman.
I just realized I didn't switch the cameras the whole time I was telling that story.
Yeah, it's all
but
good.
It
I'm-
might have been.
That's
Maybe.
the irony of playing is because that's the type of woman that
That's
does
what I'm
stuff like
saying.
that.
That's why I had. Wait, is it the person? Because you never know, especially in Philly.
Yeah.
South Philly.
Yeah. But it's always funny to me when these people go so hard for animals and you know they don't have that same energy when it comes to like kids or abortion.
People, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But also, like, you're out here, like, screaming. This is my camera. Screaming at, like, a human being.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, the disrespect and the, like, you can approach somebody and speak to somebody about
Right.
something that you are uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Without the energy that she brought to that situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a publicly humiliate you. That's your mission of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Like-
even if she did think it was so gross and disgusting, okay, keep it moving.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
It's not illegal.
yeah. Like,
You can tie your dog up.
it's like I have to do something about this. You know what I mean? Stop it, lady.
And if she wanted to reach you, that's not how you reach you.
Yeah.
You can't, berate somebody and like, oh, she's going to change my life. No. Now you put me in the resentment mode if, you let that come over you.
You're speaking logic, and that's
Hey, that's what I was going to say when you said, I was like, come on, Logic. Let's get out of here. I was
Is that
gonna
the
say,
dog's name?
Bars.
That's the dog's
Bars.
name.
Yeah, that's his name.
That lady could have used some of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, people they want to be a hero, and how they think it's gonna. Because what she wants is this. It's not just the dog. It's people are hoping for a after effect moment, which is when she walks into to Starbucks, she's
Everyone
yelling at
applauds
everyone's
her.
stuff.
Yep. And when she gets home, she's going to tell all her little friends.
She has a story.
Yeah. And I told her. And this is disgusting.
They said coffee for life. And that's how she's
That's
telling
how
the story.
great of a
She's
person
telling the
I
story
am.
right now.
Yeah.
She's telling the story.
And everyone, all her friends are probably like, okay.
Karen,
Jeez.
Karen, you're crazy.
Jeez,
He doesn't
Karen.
like coffee.
Here you go again. Yeah, that is funny, man.
But good job though.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm proud of you.
Composure.
I'm proud of you on that one.
Yeah, because
It was a grown up
tough,
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Did you guys see what's new with Uncle Joe this week?
there's always something
Which
new.
one? Let's see if I see
The
it.
clip of him talking about inflation. I think this was from today.
Oh.
There was
No,
there was a
didn't.
lot of
Oh,
stuff, but
yesterday.
I didn't have a lot saved, so I only have the one from today that I
Oh,
saw
I should have sent you
where he
some.
was talking about lowering costs.
Did we ever play the one where he's talking about prostitutes?
I think we did play that one before.
Did we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Oh, he's so old.
as soon as John comes back, we can play this.
What's he doing? What did you do?
He went pee.
Do you believe that you and your administration bear some measure of responsibility for the inflation that we're seeing across the country?
First is we're in power. That's the first thing. And you justifiably right, we control all three branches of the government. Well, we don't really.
Wait, what?
What? Bro. What are you talking about, dude? Dude.
What is he talking about?
No one knows. This is the point. No one.
First off,
we
we're in
control
power.
all
First
three.
of all, we're in power.
Is that like an insight to how he really feels? Dude, like,
I don't know, bro.
We control all three branches of the government.
Well, we don't really.
Don't really.
right.
He probably caught that and realized, like, oh snap.
It's like an inner dialogue. Yeah, like, wait. I just gave away some secrets.
I wasn't supposed to say that.
They have a little zapper attached to them. I mean, no, stop.
He was just repeating what happened in the Obama meeting
Yeah,
earlier that
right,
day.
right.
Oh crap!
Right.
Wait, what happened?
Right. And then right around that, there's quotations. Don't say this. And he says it anyway. He reads it. Don't say this. Well, we control all three branches of
But do we?
Yeah.
But do we?
I thought that was
He
funny.
looks so
man.
rat them. They're like,
Yo, did you guys hear about because they built that whole soundstage for him? Like he doesn't do any press conferences from the Oval Office like every other president has done. You know how like people are always like, why is he always on a soundstage? You ever see like like they have that screen behind them with like the fake windows that show different stuff in the background? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? And everybody's always like because the stuff in the windows will be wrong. It's like when it was fall, it was like summer outside, like all kind of weird stuff. People are like, why is he on a soundstage? What the heck is going on? So they released something saying that the reason why they don't do anything from the Oval Office is because they can't fit the teleprompters in there and leave them up. So they do everything from that soundstage that they built like next door.
They don't use like a regular teleprompter.
It's the
like a
giant ones,
Right.
the giant ones, and there's two of them, and they have to keep them there at all times because he can't ever just talk. He has to be reading at all times. So that's why you always hear him saying like end quote. You know what I mean? Period. Right. But
Don't say.
They came out and admitted that because everyone was asking like, why is this dude doing all of these briefings from this soundstage? with like lighting and like it's not. This isn't. Have you ever think about it? Have you ever seen him talking from the Oval Office?
No,
never.
No. Nope.
Because they trying to control him so much. Like everything that he says, they're trying to keep everything so controlled. Because you can't just let him. Because he does stuff like this when you just let him talk.
But he does it all the time. They can't control.
Yeah, man. Let me show y'all this. So I saw this on Twitter. People dug up this writing from Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Right? Everyone lauds her as the one who loved Roe v. Wade, pushed that through, gay marriage. She's the most progressive one. You know, they blame her now for dying, and she's the reason why they're about to overturn this. Look at this quote from her. Now, I don't know where this is from. Hopefully it's true. This has been going all around Twitter, going viral. And she said, yes, the ruling about that surprised me. Harris versus Mcrae in 1980, with the court upheld the Hyde Amendment, which forbids the use of Medicaid for abortions. Frankly, I had thought that at the time Roe was decided, there was concern about population growth, and particularly growth in population that we don't want to have too many of. So
she's talking about what?
And particularly growth in populations that we don't want to have too many of. What do you think that is referring to?
Somebody else said that too.
Oh, Margaret Sanger.
Yeah.
But she's basically pointing that out in this quote.
Which, she's minusing a couple of things.
Yeah.
But
So,
it's there.
Yeah. So she's saying that Roe was going to then set up for Medicaid funding for abortion, which some people felt would risk coercing women into having abortions when they didn't really want them, but when the court decided, and it goes on. But the major portion of that quote was her basically saying like they thought it would be to control the population and particular parts of the population that we don't want too many of.
Particularly growth in populations that we don't want to have too many of.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. That's y'all hero.
Sounds like eugenics to me.
And the other
That's
one,
y'all
in
hero.
the opinion that got leaked, Scalia referenced.
Yeah.
Scalia, right? Hold on.
Alito. Yeah.
Referenced her saying that Roe was bad law. And it shouldn't have been, or they overreached, that Supreme Court overreached.
Yeah, she definitely said that too, that it was an overreach by the Supreme Court.
That's what I thought you had. But
no, I wanted to show this one because I
didn't
knew
see that one.
that she was
right
on record saying this. Like,
right. And that's
it was very Sanger-esque.
Yeah, and it's coded so the people who do know understand what it is, but for the people who don't know anything about Mark Sanger, that's vague enough where it doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
It doesn't make any sense to them.
Right.
But that's why I had that other video of that lady screaming about abortions and having them have the bastard sucked out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like you still got all these people out there protesting, showing up to Alito's house. Did you see that? People going to his house and stuff. Like
that was today, right?
Yeah. I saw this tweet, which I thought was hilarious because it was people protesting. I'm going to pull this up real quick.
Which he wasn't even home. They had already moved him out.
Yeah.
So all of that was...
So this meme right here is hilarious to me. It up top is a bunch of people protesting, laying down, and the woman, you see her in the left bottom window, and her sign says, "I'm on strike." What does it say? Read it.
I'm on strike. No choice for me? ? No sex for him.
Exclamation.
Exclamation.
And then the chat says, "Deal." Like, really?
Don't want it.
You threaten somebody with sex, lady? Stop it.
That's not nice.
But there's a bunch of tweets like that where it's like people are saying that, like, "Oh, I'm gonna stop giving men sex." And
didn't that came from Alyssa Milano?
Yeah, it did. It did. She said that too.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other tweets too where people are like, "Oh, people don't understand that if abortion gets overturned, hookup culture is going to be dead." And everyone's like, "Sounds like a good idea to me." You know what I mean?
Right. Did you hear the MSNBC I don't know if she was a host or a panelist that was. I think she was a host. She's like, whoever leaked it, she'll gladly. She wants to know who it is because she wants to make sweet love to
them and get pregnant and
then
abort
if they
the baby.
happen to get pregnant, then she'll happily abort the baby.
Yeah.
Or the fetus.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. It's up. I should have sent that to you.
Yeah,
Wow.
I did see that though. I just didn't save
What
it.
a nice joke.
It's just crazy how like people are really going so hard for the ability to abort babies. Like they're really like going crazy about it. So I got this clip from South Park. This is from like an old episode, and what's funny about it is like the only reason why I'm showing this is because I saw it on Twitter and I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing, of course, because you know South Park, they will make some funny statements at times. And this is from like one of the teachers that wanted to get a sex change to being a woman, right? And then while we were in Memphis, I put on the TV late at night after the show was over. This freaking episode was on, bro.
What?
And I was like, oh, I gotta show it now. So let's just watch this real quick. It's a little bit vulgar, but it's
hide your kids. Hide
they're
your
basically like laying out how ridiculous something is.
Scramble its brains or just vacuum it out?
Oh, let's go. Ready?
Beside me. Now you're gonna scramble its brains or just vacuum it out? If you want, you can just scramble it and I'll queef it out myself.
Mr. Garrison.
Mrs. Garrison.
Mrs. Garrison, you can't have an abortion.
Don't you tell me what I can and can't do with my body. A woman has a right to choose.
No, I mean you're physically unable to have an abortion because you can't get pregnant.
But I missed my period.
You can't have periods either. You had a sex change, Mr. Garrison, but you don't have ovaries or a womb. You don't produce eggs.
You mean I'll never know what it feels like to have a baby growing inside me and then scramble its brains and vacuum it out?
But that whole episode was about him having a sex change and like the whole how like he
It's
really
so ridiculous.
Like once he got the surgery, he
what
just
he
was
wanted
going
to do.
around telling everybody he's a woman now. Like like and he's like trying to go to women things or like be a woman. It was like so ridiculous. And in the same episode, one of the kids, I forget which one it was, he wanted to be a basketball player. But they were telling him like Jews can't play basketball, and it was like the parallel of like because he went to the same doctor trying to get surgery to become a tall black man. Like,
oh my goodness!
And they were like, "Yo, we can't do that." Like, so it was just funny, but yeah, I thought that was hilarious because
hilarious, not hilarious.
It's not hilarious because that's parody, but it's becoming.
Yeah.
Real
It's
life.
doctrine,
Yeah, it's becoming real life.
It's crazy.
All right. So I got here a video of a licensed therapist that's going to teach y'all about what fat phobia is.
So I figured that this question would probably come up sometime soon just because of the video and the topics that I cover. But let's break this one down. So intentional weight loss. So you purposely saying, I want to lose 20 pounds is fat phobic. And you might be like, what? Oh my goodness. I'm not trying to be fat phobic, but you are. You're being fat phobic to yourself. Why do you want to lose 20 pounds? It's probably to fit into something smaller. It's probably so people treat you better. It's probably for all the reasons that fat folks are shamed simply for being fat.
Nothing to do with being healthier?
My doctor said I got diabetes.
No one said
That's why I need to lose 20 pounds.
No, you're fat phobic because you want to
Doctors
do
don't matter unless it's COVID.
Right. Don't listen to doctors unless they're telling you to take the vaccine.
So by continuing to perpetuate that, right, seeking intentional weight loss, we are contributing to our fat phobic society.
She swears she's like
swear she's
spit
I should just stay
some
fat.
type of knowledge.
Everyone, we should all just stay fat, guys. If you even think about losing weight, you're fat phobic. Okay? Okay.
Or she's a genius, and what she's doing is she's like, I ain't got to wait to get these people. I'm going to tell them what they want to hear.
She's like, I know how I'll get a man. Make all men fat.
I don't think she wants a man.
You don't think so?
I don't think she wants. Listen, you too consumed with yourself. You don't really want anybody else.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. We saw the lady telling about suck the baby out of your vagina.
Ridiculous.
People go so far like that it becomes crazy, and they think about like the women's thing. It's like, well, I have the right because men have done this in history.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean that you can go a whole nother, like you have the right to do. It's just like, well, black people have been, marginalized and slavery and all this. So that means you can treat white people however you want.
Right.
Like this is what's happening.
They
now.
deserve it.
Like, They deserve it. Men deserve it because, like.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that's going to bring me to my next video.
Okay.
Did you guys? So James is the only one I think that has seen this this confrontation with Candace Owens and Patrisse Cullors from BLM. Have you heard about this?
It just happened?
It just happened, yeah. Okay, so basically what happened was Candace Owens went to the $6 million property that
the headquarters,
the BLM called their headquarters, where they got investigated and got in trouble for buying the $6 million property, and they claimed that they've been using it as a location for shooting YouTube videos and things like that. So it's technically not them stealing people's money to buy a mansion. You know what I mean?
It's just a building.
It's just a building. It's our headquarters. So Candace Owens went to this headquarters to talk to someone. And this is kind of a little breakdown of what happened because Patrisse Cullors was there and
she's trying to go viral.
Of course. See, when I see this picture right here, to me this is like two opposite ends of the mirror staring at each other. Because like Patrisse Cullors is like she's gonna get money and fame off of blaming everything on white supremacy. Candace Owens is gonna get money and fame on blaming everything on black people being, not needing to pull up their bootstraps or whatever. Like she's the conservative version, like they're
playing the game,
playing the same game. You know what I'm saying?
But Patrisse Cullors admits something in this though. I don't know this clip, but the clip I saw.
I'm pretty sure. But so what happened was after Candace Owens went there, she wouldn't come to the door. She was met at the gate by a security guard, defund the police, but she had private security there. And they basically ended up leaving without talking to her. And then Patrisse immediately goes on a live stream and starts crying about how she's not safe. Her family's not safe.
House.
Yeah, right. So we're going to kind of see the breakdown of that.
This is insane. In real time right now, I am watching Patrisse Cullors do a live claiming that I went to her property and demanded to speak to her. And she's, I only way I can describe it is she sounds like she's really scared. We're working on a documentary talking about all of the funding pertaining to Black Lives Matter. Obviously, we know that Patrisse and a lot of the founders purchased $1 million homes in white neighborhoods. They also purchased a Black Lives Matter property. So we went to the property and asked if there was anyone that we could speak to, very politely, by the way. We've got cameras in tow, so there's no way she can, it's all on camera. And we just said, is there anyone we can speak to? Nobody asked us to leave. The person went inside. It was just a white man that we saw outside that was providing security, which is super interesting because obviously Patrisse here is anti-police. And so she's, oh my God, I think she's crying on this live, pretending that she was harassed. Like I said, very politely to the guy, is there anyone we can speak to? My name's Candace Owens. We never went over the gate. It was just me ringing the doorbell, trying to speak to someone. He said absolutely nothing. He started just recording us. And we said, okay, if there's no one we can speak to, we're going to leave.
Are creating have created an incredibly dangerous environment for me. This morning, I woke up to Candace Owens being outside of my house with a news crew.
So a lot of people,
it's her house.
A lot of people are pointing that out. She admitted that it's her house.
She admitted it's her house.
Because that's what they were telling everyone, is that it was the headquarters.
And the people who were defending her were saying, calm down, relax. This happens all the time.
Right.
It's a building where you can facilitate the, blah, blah.
Right.
She was demanding that I come outside. And when I looked at the video recording of what she was asking about, she was actually asking about the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation property. I just really, really, y'all, I really need my family to be safe. I need to be safe. I need my child to be safe. And this, what happened this morning is not safety. It's not.
Okay.
All right.
So
Like they stormed in with guns.
right, right. Or like they were outside honking horns or throwing stuff at the house or setting off fireworks. Like,
Right.
have we ever heard of people doing this to people?
Right.
People's houses. Who are the ones doing stuff like that? You know what I
Now,
mean?
technically, she has resigned from the.
Yeah, she did. She did. She took that money and ran.
Yep.
But Candace didn't dox her or anything like that.
No.
No.
She didn't.
mean like the
Maybe that's what Candace should have done too, was showed the video
Yeah,
of you know what I mean.
of them going up to the
Yep,
thing,
yep.
which I think they're probably saving that for the documentary.
Oh, for sure.
And that's why she went live because that's just going to add fuel to what she's trying to put out now.
Right,
You
because
know what I mean?
so it's longer than this, but she actually talks about conservatives
Yeah.
and being attacked. So she tries to tie it all in.
Right.
She's obviously acting because she's crying. She's like conservative.
Talking about safety.
Yeah.
Like, someone showed up to do an interview, rang the doorbell at the gate.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Where your security
no
went
one,
out and greeted
yeah,
you.
Yes.
and no one came out and they left.
Yep.
So the place that Candace went to was supposed to be like
The headquarters.
The
Yeah.
headquarters.
Yeah.
And then
She admitted in her live stream that it was her house multiple times. If you watch like her whole thing that she did, she kept saying my house, and
Right.
people on
Yeah.
Twitter were all saying like, "Oh, so it's your house now."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
$1 million.
$6 million.
$6 million.
$6 million.
$6 million.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I think they have property in Canada too.
Yeah, they have a few properties.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's
So
just
all your people sending money to that.
I think people.
That's
I mean, I know a bunch of people who have realized that this is not.
it's unraveling.
Yeah.
The whole concept of what that was and how they built it up, and it was like a quick money grab kind of scheme.
Because most of the people that they use, Philanda Castillo, the girl in Atlanta,
Breonna Taylor. She's from Knoxville, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. Where's she
Somewhere
from?
from the south.
I forget.
A bunch of those family members have said they haven't gotten anything from them.
Yeah.
but they've used those people.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, all of them have been complaining about like they won't respond to us. They won't.
Right. And you see, even though I don't agree with what that part there of going to someone's house,
Yeah.
or, because that could be dangerous too.
Yeah.
I do like that Candace is exposing it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like, you'll be like, oh, just leave that alone.
But it's not supposed to be your house.
Yeah,
It's
I
supposed
was
to
gonna
be-
say
exactly.
that. It
That's
was
what I'm
supposed
saying.
to be headquarters.
That's supposed to be public.
But the best part of
yeah.
that is she admitted that.
Right,
So
right.
it's like, okay, cool.
Right. You just told on yourself.
You just told on yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see this documentary, which will probably be censored on everything. You won't be able to watch it.
Well, people have been-
It won't be
people
on
have been sharing it,
Netflix.
though.
No.
People have been sharing it though.
Yeah.
Especially like within the foundational Black American movement,
Yeah.
and ADOS. They've been sharing it because they don't want they know this is corruption. you know?
Yeah, and all the black people that I know that like see the type of agenda that they're really pushing.
It was a big money grab.
Yeah, and just the whole
get it.
like destroying the nuclear family thing that people saw. That they removed that after the fact, but
Right.
that was up there. Then
What's this? He has a show. It's him, Marcellus something. You guys would know him. He's a former football player. He has like a show.
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he talked about that.
Yeah, he talked about it.
On-
He
on
read
air.
he read their
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He did read it.
The
you know.
mission statement.
I think
The
we
mission
didn't we
statement.
play that on the podcast.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
played
we
that
did.
before.
Right.
Yeah.
But you just reminded me of something. Destroying the nuclear family. She's crying because
They're attacking
you
her.
know she don't feel safe for
Yeah.
her family.
Yes.
For her and her son.
For her and her son.
Yes, unless you're straight and Christian, then you can be attacked.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're you're
Especially
not
if you're white,
Yeah.
Yeah.
straight,
Yep.
cis, and Christian.
Right.
You know.
Communist family should be safe. Come on.
But that's another thing too. Is you see, because she claims, or she has had claimed that she's a Marxist, a trained Marxist, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But she's enjoying capitalism at its finest. You know what I mean?
Mom is definitely finding that video very funny.
She's not even enjoying. She's enjoying the corruption in capitalism.
Yo, she
like,
loves
taking
it.
it further
She's,
than she should have.
she's like, this is the best part.
Yeah.
So are they getting like
Technically, they're probably
prosecutor? Or
They're being investigated right now. So I think she's kind of setting up. She's going to look for any way to make herself a victim in this.
Right.
Because they're being
If they
exposed.
do get prosecuted or charges brought up, they're gonna play the race card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're going to say this.
Actually, that's
because
probably
we're-
why it's best Candace does it.
Yeah.
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 You know.
But they're gonna say
Well,
they sick their black woman on us.
Yeah.
You know what I
So
mean?
what?
She's
Their,
a race
their
hater.
Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
Or race trader.
No, what's the bed wench? They sick their bed wench on us.
yeah.
That's what they're gonna say. But speaking of black women battling it out, the news that Kevin Samuels passed away.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That is true.
That's real.
Yeah.
100% true.
Yep. Happened Saturday.
Was it Saturday?
Friday, I think.
Friday night, maybe. Yeah. But YouTube and Twitter and everything has been like, and then,
I mean, listen. By now, if it was fake, he would have addressed it.
oh no, it's 100% real.
Yeah,
but
his mom missed him.
yeah, the news. No, like New York Times came. Big news outlets are reporting on it now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely true. But just seeing the way they're framing it, especially the news outlets just saying like, divisive, misogynist, passes away, at the age of 57 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, a lot of people on YouTube are making the point where it's like, how come only a man who's being direct and honest to women, because, he's done this to men
for 3 years.
Yeah. He did the same thing to men. And
Not in the way, like, I want to say this, not in the way that we all agree with.
Right.
But it was obviously an element where there were certain things within there that was true.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe it wouldn't have been the way we would have done it.
Yeah.
But it got attention. You know
Right.
what I mean? And it pointed out certain things.
And you're talking about women that were coming to him and calling in to have these conversations.
Right.
They want his advice on
They want
things.
his advice, yeah.
But if what they don't want to be told the truth fully. It's like if he felt like you were being delusional in your
Well,
go ahead.
I won't say it's the truth. I would say it's his version of the truth.
Or his opinion on the truth.
Yeah,
His opinion.
It's his opinion.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff he says to women is like, that's his opinion, literally.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, but if you think about it logically, a lot of it is true in a sense where it's like, maybe you need to not be focused on how much a man is making and thinking that you deserve a certain thing just because you feel like
I
you're
think
a
he
woman.
led them into that.
Yeah.
Which was his angle, was to basically start off with the physical, because he
Yeah.
knows they're going for a version of that, which is like financial plus the looks or
Right.
whatever. So he makes them list their assets.
Well, they were calling it the 666, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is very ironic.
Yeah.
6 figures, 6 foot,
Yep.
and 6 pack, or
Which is true.
or 6 inches. That you could have.
yeah, he was. He definitely brought forth like some logic.
Yeah.
In terms of how people deal in this world,
Yeah, I think it was more about breaking that spell of like that Disney princess spell where it's like, you're a woman, so you deserve everything. You can have it all. You know what I mean? Like you can focus on your career until your 40s.
He's
and
like,
then,
no, you're fat.
right. or he'll be like, yo, you have 2 kids and you're 35 years
But
old.
but one of the things is but he wouldn't just do that. What would happen was a lot of times when he would ask what type of men they want,
that's where it would start.
That's where it would start.
Yeah.
They're wanting a certain type of guy.
They're not only wanting, they think they deserve it.
Yes.
They want. They think anything like where he would get women like that is because he would say you should look for a man making $40,000-$50,000 a
right.
year,
And he
a
did talk about
working man.
Yeah.
And they would say that's settling.
Yeah,
I don't want that. That's
Yes.
That's not for me.
Yes.
So then it's like, okay, but he would have to then approach them with like, you think that's settling? A man has to settle for you. You know what I mean? So he was trying to break that perspective.
And of course, a lot of times it was they had 3 different kids, never been married.
Right.
So it was a lot of that. He was attacking that.
Right.
Like, it wouldn't be the way me or any of us here would handle
Right.
it. But I think he was because he did talk about the black family, and he did talk about certain things that was, and then it changed.
Yeah.
And he talked about the introduction with the feminist movement and what they have done, which you have to go back and take a look at how did we go from 75% marriage rate to one of the lowest?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Children out of wedlock, issues in the community. How did we go
highest
from that?
abortion rate?
And we're talking about, by the way, that 75% was during Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Was during segregation,
Yeah.
all of that.
Right.
How did that happen? So something had to happen. So maybe he didn't go into it in depth enough, but it was enough to point out that something happened that during this time when it was worse. It was way worse for black people.
He used
then.
to go into it where he would talk about black women were brainwashed into teaching their daughters bad habits.
Right.
You know, he I think he didn't do a good enough job at getting men to take ownership for their part in it all.
Sure.
You know, but he did spend, like you said, 3 years addressing men's issues. I think he realized that addressing women's issues blew his page up a little bit better.
The average at best is what did it.
But the ironic and the funny thing about it was, for 3 years while he was telling men, you're fat, you're lazy, you ain't nothing, like you can't, if you ain't in the gym every day, don't expect you can't have what you think you want. You know what I mean? Like he would tell men directly, no one cared. No one complains.
Well, I mean, it's acceptable to do that.
That's that's my point. It's like women can get on YouTube and trash men, call them dusties, call them, you know.
He held them accountable in the space of what my physical requirements are, because they are asking for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
because it's easy. It's
Which is
easy.
very, very surface.
It is. But it's what he was showing is like, it's okay for you to say, I want a man who's 6. I don't date anybody under 6 foot. But if a man says, I don't date anybody over 150, it's a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also that the standards that are directed towards men and women on both sides in music and entertainment and media are a lie.
Yeah.
And they're not conducive to the family structure overall.
Right.
And to building families in a healthy, realistic way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he wasn't, well, I don't think he was for that. Like, I mean, look at how he passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he die from?
Heart attack.
Yeah.
Apparently he was with some girl though, you know, some girl he met that he had in the apartment. She was a nurse.
Wasn't it like it was like a one night stand type?
Yeah. Some younger girl, know.
I saw something about how, you know, he likes, you know, thin women, but he was seeing somebody who was like really thick or something like that.
I never heard he liked thin women.
You know, and to me it's like this, right? Like Kevin Samuel is not the answer.
No.
You know what I mean?
Kevin Samuels is a result of what we've been dealing with.
But what we're pointing out is this. If you're gonna look at someone like an Oprah and deify her, that's exactly what happened with Kevin Samuel.
Right.
He's just a male version.
The male
of that.
version.
You know what I mean?
And now that he passed away, the fact that so many people are like happy and rejoicing, is crazy.
It's sad.
Never understood that.
Yeah.
How?
Because he the thing is, like you said, the framework of misogynist.
Yeah.
Once you're labeled that, there's no, because someone pointed out, and it was actually a woman. You know, Kevin Samuel didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
No one died as a result of his. You know.
Yeah.
So to put that out in the ethos that he was danger and he was killing people, and that's untrue.
And you sent me a video from the girl, the Gothic girl, her channel.
Yeah.
And she made a very good point too, which is like Kevin Samuels was talking to individuals directly about what he saw in their behaviors and the things they were telling him.
Yeah, and he held them accountable in their actions.
He never collectivized black women in general.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you're going to say that him talking to an individual about her bad habits is all black women, then you're the one putting yourself in that.
Then you're identifying with it.
And you're trying to condone that behavior.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is true. Which is true because, like I said, the fact that you have 3 children from 3 different men, you're overweight, and you're driving a bus, and you want a multimillionaire. And when he asks you, why do you think you deserve it? And you're like, because I'm a 10.
I
mean, listen, I personally believe that he picked those people to sensationalize like anything else.
Right.
You know, it's just part of it.
Yeah, because I made fun of it when he had Nicki Minaj on there.
Yeah, he went softball.
And he
same thing with Brittany Renner.
Yeah, same thing with Brittany Renner. And he talked to them. It was like his approach was totally different. You know what I mean? Right. Which is clear.
So he knows what to do.
He knows what to do. He's polarizing where he needs to be because he was growing a channel too. And, you know, of course, he's like, hey, book a session. So he's selling something.
Yes,
you know,
of course.
But he was able to tap into a bit of truth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that truth don't set you free.
Nope.
And that's the issue because you just get caught up in one side or the other. And granted, one side can be worse than the other. You know, but it just doesn't. Just because one side isn't worse than the other, I don't make it right either. It's like you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah.
You know, you're still falling.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And for guys, it's like this idea of being a high value man is cars, money, girls. you're doomed to fail. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's
We talked about that on here too.
Right.
Like that,
Right.
this
That's not
idea
real.
that makes you high value
Right.
is so flawed.
Right.
And then Kevin Samuels, like he was the one that kind of spawned all these little mini me's that have these channels now, and they're just taking it even further and more ridiculous.
Oh,
like
now
the
they're
Fresh
vying
and
for it.
Fits
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, and it's just about trashing women to get views because you got a bunch of
Right.
incels that want to see women get crapped on. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
right.
that's what
That's true.
their
That's true.
audience becomes.
For the last 2 years, what I would say that came out of this, that is, in a sense, of positive things, was holding both sexes accountable, but more the female mindset of I deserve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that way, because we should ask that question, like, why do you feel the way you do, and challenge people on that. Because for a long time I feel like if we challenge people, then it feels like you're bullying them into accepting a certain thing, and the truth is, sometimes you do need to ask, well, why? You know what I mean? Like, you just can't come in here and say, I demand 150,000. What's your skill level? Tell me what have you done to deserve that?
Right.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's kind of what he was doing. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's funny that like you're saying these things, and like the problem is this is basic conversation.
Yeah, it is.
and we've gotten away from it.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's literally like how we're supposed to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what selfishness does is it breaks down communication.
Right.
Because you're not really telling somebody how you feel.
Yeah.
You're telling somebody how you want them to treat you.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because you have to get to the deeper thing. Because it's like, how do you feel? And then how do you feel? And then you got to care about how they feel. That doesn't
Right.
happen.
Yeah,
You know?
I remember when my wife and I first started dating, we talked about submission, but she thought submission meant subjugation.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
And so many women have been fearful of that,
Right.
Or they're so afraid of that word.
Yeah, and you remember the first part of that is husbands love your wives.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm supposed to do something first.
Right.
I'm supposed to do something first.
Right.
And then you submit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But not in the sense of what we think it is. You know what I mean? So
because you don't get to deeper like that. Like if you look, like husbands love your wives like Christ loves the church. Right?
Yeah.
So the point is, Jesus, like he's open to our hearts.
Yeah.
But we got to be open to him.
Not only that, he's willing to die for it.
Right.
us.
He already did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So we got to do
Yeah.
the same thing
Right.
for our wife. We have to do, you know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's a
Yep.
metaphor.
Yeah.
A typology, if you will.
Mhm.
So I was
Yeah.
like, you're missing it because you're taking it from the worldly perspective of when I get home, where's my food? I'm
Yeah.
gonna beat you. You're going to. It's not true.
Yeah.
Right, you're gonna do what I
But
say.
see, that's misrepresentation.
Yeah.
And that's like I was saying that earlier. That caused me like these things. It causes you to hate the titles, or
Yeah.
it causes you to hate role. I would say it causes you to hate roles.
Yeah.
Right. Because now it's like you need to change the role of a woman.
Yeah.
You need to change the role of a wife.
Sure.
Or a husband.
Sure.
Right. Now there's stuff in there that you don't like.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's been misrepresented.
Yeah.
Right. And that doesn't mean there's not hope there. You can't just do away with everything.
No.
You know, but then what I think where people get caught up is like, that doesn't sit right with me. Now I'm going to fight against that.
Yeah.
And that's not like what we're supposed to do.
And what men go wrong is feeling the need to want to subjugate her or show her instead of just loving her like God said you should.
Right.
And then she's like, this is not what I thought it was. And she puts it down completely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she realized I have a sword and you don't, why do I have this? She puts it down. She's like, okay,
Right.
you know.
Because a woman, they put down their guard and they're open. Now they're open.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, like she puts down her sword. You can't joust with each other.
No,
right?
no.
You're
That's
not
what
gonna
it
get
is.
nowhere.
That's what it is.
Intellectually, you can't joust.
Yeah, no.
You know, nobody gets anywhere.
And that's what, for me, him and I talk about this all the time with the whole manosphere thing, because really, it's really men's fault. This whole thing, is men's fault, because we can't be mad at the women for displaying certain things and love the playboys of the past, the James Bonds, because we'll see all the Pretty Woman and all the movies that perpetuate certain stereotypes. We find bad behavior in females.
Or we're the ones in the club dancing to girls.
Yeah,
girls,
that's what I'm saying. So,
girls.
but I pointed out to my buddy Dylan and I who work together. I was like, all of those rappers who said all of that, now they have daughters.
Right.
Now they're ready to kill somebody.
Right, right.
That's
T.I.'s going to the gynecologist, checking. You know what I'm saying?
So they're hypocrites.
Yeah.
But you know who's the fool? You, me, for tuning in to listen to those guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think we've both had a version of it, but ultimately men are the one who perpetuated that.
Yeah.
Because the Playboy lifestyle, you know, even like
the culture
back in the what was it called, the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
It was drinking and
Yeah.
smoking and
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
it seemed innocent, but it was sending a message out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what is the Rat Pack? It's Sex in the City. It's the girls.
Yep, that's the girl version.
That's the girl version of
Yeah.
that. So we can't love Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. The older generation say, "Oh, movies." It's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's just maybe it's just a little more
It's
raunchy.
amped up. It's amped up a little bit, and
the
it's
same
always
thing.
going to amp up.
Yeah, and what you're doing is like, now you're playing a role instead of actually being that role.
Yeah.
So because you're looking at the image, right?
Yeah.
The image is on TV. The image is from the actors, the musician, entertainment.
Yeah.
You're playing that. You want to be like that, so you play. You don't. How can you really know how to be that thing, right? So you try to live up to it, and that's never really attainable because it's not real.
Yeah.
And so then there's no responsibility because how can kids be responsible? They just playing.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just playing.
Yeah.
And nobody's really responsible. So now it's
Cowboys
like,
and Indians.
Right. Right. So it's like, I want to go back to playing.
Right.
I don't want to be responsible. So
Right.
then you just
Right.
drop it. And so
As soon as you find out cowboys got to wrangle cows and milk cows, and,
Right.
and you're like, I don't want to be a cowboy anymore.
Right.
Just want to shoot guns
figure
and wear cool costumes.
these Native American, they were
Right.
all the stuff they had to
Yeah,
do to
they
survive
were
and
hunting and yeah.
We're gonna leave that
We
alone.
gonna yeah.
But yeah, it's that responsibility. But
Right.
but again, like what did God do? He said, I'll take on all the responsibility. I'll take it on for the world.
Yeah.
And he died and he suffered for everyone. And men are that for their wives.
Yeah.
Men are that for their families.
Yeah.
We are supposed to love, and that love is to suffer and be responsible where who can do it?
Yeah.
You know?
So Mon said a great transition. He talked about the culture. We were talking about rappers. I want to get into this Kendrick Lamar.
Let me
that just
before
dropped.
you do that, let me just
Got any
read.
comments?
Yep, I was going to give a shout out to Lena because she jumped on and said hi.
She said, well, unfortunately, I feel the problem here is that men and women value different things. Men and women are trying to relate according to what they each value.
Yeah. Well, let's get into this Kendrick Lamar video. Jake was saying we should talk about it on the pod because I sent it to you guys just because I thought it was interesting. I've always been like a Kendrick fan just because like I saw that he was trying to be a little bit more meaningful than most rappers nowadays. Like y'all know, and I'm sure y'all all agree, like I hate modern rap. Like, and then when I go back and listen to a lot of stuff we liked, it's garbage. You know what I mean? But like Kendrick, J. Cole, like people that are like, I always like Nas for the simple fact that he was trying to say something, even if it didn't always make sense or if it didn't always like, it wasn't always the right thing. You know, he was seeing his gift as a vehicle to say things. You know what I mean? And I think what Kendrick has been doing has been the same thing. I don't know if you did you see Ruslan when he interviewed a dude who did a whole breakdown of Kendrick's last album.
I couldn't sit through that whole thing.
Yeah, but they were trying to like parallel like how his last album was basically talking about God. You know what I mean? Because he has professed to be a Christian, you know, and I know his Good Kid, Mad City album was like his struggle with being a good kid growing up in a bad city and like that struggle, that fight, that wrestling with like
the world,
believing in something but being in the world and having to deal with that every day. You know what I mean? And still wanting to be a part of certain things. You know, it's something that we all deal with. You know, and they were talking about how like that's Israel because Israel is literally wrestling with God. You know what I mean?
Before you go on, real quick, since you guys are in this field, do you think hip hop should have been genrefied, like intellectual hip hop, mumble rap, dance, Like, you know what I mean? Or because because Kendrick is hip hop, but he's not that.
Right. I think maybe
It
you
used
know.
to be a difference between rap and hip hop.
Yeah.
But they lumped it together in the
Because
award shows.
like, you know, KRS-One, De La Soul,
Leaders of the New School.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
They
what I mean?
do that.
Tribe Called Quest.
They
yeah,
do that with-
that's not the same as NWA.
They go
and-
planet,
yeah.
right?
They
You know
do
what I'm
that with everything else, though.
Yeah,
right?
you're absolutely right. So I get what you're saying. Like,
But they
if
shouldn't.
if you look at the genre of rock, that's the overarching genre. But you have alternative, you have indie, you have
Emo.
classic emo rock, you have all,
Yacht rock.
screamo, grunge. You have all these different subgenres, and they recognize all those subgenres.
Yeah.
And there's a whole radio station dedicated to one. You know what I mean? But in hip hop, it's just like all one thing. You know what I mean? Which I think
But it's not all the same.
Yeah, so you get this like this muddled
roots,
mix of everything, and it's hard for you're saying when you do that, it's harder for rappers like a Kendrick who don't reach his level of fame to get noticed because they're competing with Lil Baby at the same time when
Right.
they're not the same thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I get what you're
And
saying.
there's no room to appreciate. See, the thing is, there's no what I'm also trying to add in here is there's no room to really compartmentalize and appreciate a guy like this.
Yeah.
Because it is his success is tied into the club hit.
Yeah.
His success is right alongside Big Pimpin'.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, this is not a club joint.
But the thing with Kendrick is he's never made club joints.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's the I mean, I don't know, maybe just because he's like lyrically he's so good that he was able to get recognized. You know what I mean? Like how Eminem was able to get recognized without just being a club,
That's
hit
true.
maker. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
I sent you the lyrics too.
yeah, I have them up already.
Okay.
But one of the things that I noticed about this that I thought was very interesting was, like you said, the culture. Like he addresses the culture multiple times in this song, and in the hook, he's constantly saying like talking about the hood and how like I want the hood to want me back. You know what I mean? Because he samples the Marvin Gaye thing, I want you and I want you to want me too. But he's like dedicating that to the idea of like we want to be loved by the hood because that's where we're from. You know what I mean? But that also becomes the culture. That also becomes our demise because we can't let that go. You know what I mean? So he's like going on and on about this. And if you guys haven't heard the song yet, you should go check it out. But the funny thing was, and I knew Mon was driving while he was listening to it, so I knew he wasn't like getting the full thing. And so I was like, if you watch it, his face is morphing into other people as he's like talking
polarizing
individuals.
Because it looks so simple though. Like I watched, as I was stopping, I watched a little bit and he's rapping. I'm like, oh, it's not changing. It's just him.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna play it because we'll get hit with copyrights. But you see, like he gets to certain lyrics and then he morphs to OJ and he's talking about the culture and he's talking about like what happened. Then he morphs to Kanye. You know what I'm saying? And he's talking about the culture. And the interviews where Kanye brought up the culture multiple times and how like, the culture tells me I need to have a foreign car. I need to F your girl. Yeah. I need to, you know what I'm saying?
What did
like,
he say?
He also said
culture
bipolar,
was
right when he said bipolar, he switched to Kanye West.
Yeah.
He said something about culture was his God.
Yes. Kanye did say that.
He thought that he created.
He said, I thought I was the God of culture, but I realized culture was my God.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. And so I'll shoot through some of these faces that he goes to. Jussie Smollett goes to Juicy wrote for a minute. And I mean, one of the most impactful ones was this one right here when he goes to Will Smith and he says something about
hurt people,
and stop calling that the culture. You know what I mean? Because think about it. We've talked about that on here about how so many people came to his defense and said what he did was protecting his girl and how this is how black men should protect their wives. You know what I mean? Like, stop making it a part of the culture. That type.
And then turn around and say, hey, we need to stop this killing in the street.
Yes.
Right. This, right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. But again, like that's why like there has to be a response and a responsibility, and it comes from the Christian
the church.
It comes from the church, but It doesn't come from the church when you're hiding in the pews. When
Yeah.
you're hiding from the culture.
Yep.
You have to go into the darkness. You got to go into the culture, and you got to cultivate it. You got to go into the wild, right? Right now we're dealing with wild. It's whatever goes.
Yeah.
But you got to go into that wild. You got to cultivate it.
You got to tame it, man.
And you don't do that by throwing around a sword. You do that by dying on a sword.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You do that by allowing yourself. If you stand, people are gonna come against you. One thing that I realized was like you don't, like, Jesus was honored by the Pharisees by killing him.
Mhm.
Meaning like they showed that he actually deserved honor by killing him, so he couldn't receive honor.
Mm.
But they actually revealed that because he was a threat to
Yeah.
their honor.
Yep.
That he was a threat to what they should have been, what the people should have been esteeming, right? And that's why he killed, and that's why God raised him up. And like what he's talking about is so cool because it's about a perspective shift.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up some of the lyrics real quick. John, you can pull that back up. My bad. So right here he says 23-hour lockdown. Then somebody called, said your little nephew was shot down. The culture's involved. I done seen N-words do 17, hit the halfway house, get out and get his brains blown out. Looking to buy some weed. Car washes played out. New GoFundMe accounts. I'll proceed. A brand new victim will shatter your dreams. The culture. And then, goes into the hook. I want you. I want the hood to want me back. I want the hood. Look at what I done for you. Like I said, it's going into that idea that, like, even though you've reached this level of success, it's like this want for the hood and the culture to accept you and be a part of that, instead of being like, yo, let's change this culture.
Mm-hmm.
Let's like, he's talking about it right there. Like the culture that we love is having somebody get out of jail and then get their brains blown out to go buy weed. You know what I mean? Because there's people that want to kill them.
Yeah, this is Jay-Z. This is a Jay-Z line. I do it for. He puts this in the second verse. I said I do it. I do
this for the culture,
for my culture.
Yeah,
to let y'all know what a unga
look like in a bulletproof rover.
bulletproof-
Yeah, that was a Jay-Z
Yeah.
line. You know what I mean?
Right. And so that's an image, right?
Yeah.
And again, we talked about this earlier. It's about images, right? It's about imagery, and it's about getting people to relate to that imagery, because everything is about how you see it. So where the power is in the light. And the Bible says that the eye is a lamp to the body, right?
Yeah.
If that eye is evil, it says how, and you let that light in. If you're always looking at things that are evil, you're letting that light in, right?
Mhm.
And that's actually darkness. And it says how evil is that darkness. I'm probably misquoting it, but it's connected to serving, because the next part he says you can't serve two masters. You're gonna either serve mammon or you're gonna serve God, right? You can't. You're gonna hate one and love the other. So there's a connection between our perspective, and we get our perspective through God, but we get our perspective in what we put our view on, right? And I keep going back to that because that's how we're going to see what's going on in the world, and understand how to shift culture. And at the beginning of it, he says, in the intro, he says, as I get a little older, I realize life is perspective, and my perspective may differ from yours. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been down with me. So it's like he's saying this, but at the same time, he's saying I want to thank everyone, but I'm gonna bring something that you might not.
Yeah.
Might not be.
It might
with.
not be for the culture.
So it's the foolish things that sound foolish to people, like turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
There's a line in Who Am I at the end, the bridge. How's it go?
You may take me as a fool because I view life different than you.
That's perspective.
Yeah.
Right. And so
we see that all the time.
Right. So it's about changing your perspective. But this world will will try to get you to change
This
your
world
perspective.
will try to take you down.
Right.
And
So
this strain can leave you bound.
that's why I said earlier, like
A life
we're
filled
dealing with
regrets.
We're dealing with a mentality in the music industry, right? Because that's our realm where we work. So you see the same mentality over and over again, over and over again. If you get caught up in that fight, in that, like, you're gonna get jaded.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose perspective. You're gonna change your perspective. You have to be focused on what's being put before you, right?
Yeah.
Or what you want to be put before you.
Right.
I was talking to Mona about this, like, people say God isn't there. Where was God when this happened? Where was God when that happened, right?
Yeah.
But he wasn't there because you didn't bring him into that place.
Yeah.
And you got to bring him into the darkness. If you don't bring him into the darkness, you'll never see.
Right.
You know what I mean? You won't see from that perspective, right? But there was a story about this barber who says this because he don't believe in God, and then he says it to a pastor. The pastor goes outside, gets a homeless man.
Yeah.
Right? Brings him in and says, hey, he never got a haircut. I mean, look at his hair, right?
Yeah.
How come you never gave him a haircut? There's no barbers.
Mm.
Right? And he said, yeah, but he has to come in and ask. Exactly. You have to come to where he is.
Right.
And you don't come to where he is with God by anything but your heart.
Mm.
Your heart has to be open to him. Right? And then it'll shift your perspective. But if your heart becomes cold, it's because of everything that's going on around you. You settle in life, and that's what we've been dealing with, like especially in the Black culture.
Yep.
And then we write songs about it.
Yeah.
We make videos about it. You know.
Well, yeah, we glorify it for decades, and to the point where it becomes worshipped.
It becomes worship. It
Straight up
becomes
worship.
law.
Yeah.
We grew up in suburbs, you know.
Same thing
in
with
New
James.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
And
a
you
lot
saw
of
so many people affected
a lot of
and
kids
influenced.
affected by the culture,
Right.
by especially music. They
Yeah.
listen to all this. It's the
Right.
rock, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Slinging, you know, drugs. You come from a good family, you live in a good home, and then you see them doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing this stuff when your parents work so hard to get something?
Not only just doing it, but ending up in jail, ending up
Yeah.
ruining their lives. A lot of them. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Because they needed to do it for the culture, because they didn't feel connected the way they thought they should. You know what I mean?
And that's where you're bound.
Right.
That's where you're bound
to a life filled with regrets that we've been trying to forget.
That's
That's
not
one of our
honoring-
new songs. It's like
that's
those
not
lyrics
that's not
keep coming up.
Yeah. Not honoring your mother and father.
Yeah.
You know, and what they did.
You're bound to the service of that. Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
bound to what you see. You're bound to the image. And that's what's going on. Like we were talking about the women, right? They're bound to trying to, right? Let me get a butt implant. Let me do these things. Let me do the things that's going to get me what I want. You're bound to that. You're not free. You're bound. And in order to not be bound, you have to stop serving that master. Right?
Yeah.
And then we see God teaches us only through love. If we see him through love, he becomes our master.
Yep.
Right? And then we put our guard down. Just like a man and a woman. You
Mhm.
keep going after people, even though they want to hit you,
Yeah.
right? They want to attack you.
Yep.
They want to stab you. Whether it's
They want to
literally-
berate you because you locked up your dog. You
right.
tied up your dog.
Whether it's literally or figuratively, they want to attack you.
Yeah.
You know? And when you lay down your life, you are actually cultivating a different thing.
Yeah.
That don't make no sense.
I will publicly humiliate you.
Yo, and can't wait to do it. I've been waiting.
She was ready. I was the
Yo,
one. I was the one.
She's been training for this for 5 years now. She's been training. I'm gonna get my moment to humiliate someone publicly. But yes, I thought that song. If you guys didn't check that out, check out that Kendrick Lamar song.
Right.
He's
It's
one of the
dope.
artists that I really like.
Yeah,
Appreciate his music.
Jamie's been telling me about him for a long time.
Yeah.
Him and J. Cole. J. Cole had one about false prophets too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But even like Kendrick's last album, it's funny because like you know, a lot of the times, like I listen to this stuff just as references for music, for mixing, for production and stuff like that. But that album, when I listened to it, I could hear like, yo, there's something here. God is in this album somehow. You know what I mean? And a lot of what he was saying was like really connecting with me. So, you know.
But I think too, part of it, like what people don't understand is, speaking of culture, is the cultivation of culture, right? So we don't understand. We just think the baby is because he's here. We don't understand the algorithm that's behind it. We don't understand the marketing machine behind it. We don't understand the record label behind it to push him to take this guy and be like, he's the face of it. So to us, it's just, oh, this guy has a hot song. But we don't understand the machine behind it. Because
I mean, we talked about it earlier.
We have.
They don't understand when they come to a show. They just see the show.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't understand there's people working behind the
all
scenes,
the
all the moving pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
So the culture is, but is that really the culture, or somebody's
it could be manipulated.
crafting this culture?
It could be crafted. It's witchcraft, right?
Right.
It could be crafted in a way where it's like, let's only expose certain elements of this
because
thing.
I don't know how true this is. I have heard about the changing of hip hop in the 90s. I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
I heard it years ago where it said that record executives got together and said, we are not going to promote this.
Yeah.
We need this.
Well, I mean,
we need a certain artist, a certain type.
I remember Kanye specifically saying that Lee Cohen was like, don't bring me no
conscious.
Don't bring me no more conscious rap. I only want gangster rap. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're talking about Def Jam, you're talking about like everything that came out of the East Coast at that time. Like you had Jimmy Iovine doing all the West Coast stuff, and Lee Cohen was doing all the East Coast stuff.
Right.
And then you look at what they were pushing.
Right.
What was Jimmy Iovine pushing? NWA, Death Row Records, Dr. Dre, all that stuff, Snoop Dogg. You know what I mean? And it becomes like, okay, this is the entire soundtrack that shaped our childhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're wondering like, where did all those other artists go? They were so big for like a couple years.
Yeah.
Leaders of the New School,
Diggable Planets.
We were just talking about them the other day when we were in Tennessee.
Yeah.
We were singing
I had
that song.
all the albums. I've been to like 3 of their shows.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not gangster. They're talking about bugs and doodle bugs. And,
right.
You know what I mean?
Or like Tribe was talking about real issues. Leaders, Brand Nubian. All these people there was a whole time in hip hop where they were really trying to change hip hop and make it more about, you know, and of course a lot of it was like black empowerment and like Mother Africa type stuff. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all. You know what I mean? But
black, y'all.
But
but what I'm trying to say is it wasn't always chaos.
It was that was stamped out.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
it don't make as much money.
It did.
But I don't think they can necessarily. I don't think you can necessarily say that because it was popular. It was making
It wasn't making
tons
as
of money.
much money as the other stuff.
Tribe Called Quest,
but they pushed it
wasn't
though.
making as much money as the other stuff.
Dude, I don't know about that.
But I'm saying even that was crafted because if you gave it a true shot, maybe Tribe would have. But who pushed it? Because it's the same thing with the record label. Frank Zappa talked about that. He's like, I'll tell you how a record becomes number one.
Yeah.
A bag of cash for you, some
Yeah.
coke for you.
Yeah.
And he talked about like you paid off the label.
Yeah.
We wouldn't know that.
Frank
the
Zappa
public.
was talking about that in the 80s.
Yeah.
About how these records don't really become number one because people love them. These people are paid
There's
off
money
to
behind it.
push push certain records.
Yeah, he said if it was, he's like, You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog would have been number one from the original person that sung it.
Right.
But people were paid to play that.
Right.
And Elvis the Pelvis was born. You know what I'm saying? So
Elvis the Pelvis.
Yeah,
That's what they call it.
but we're dealing with people who don't care.
Yeah.
Like I really don't believe that there's just like, and not, I would say overarching, but because there definitely could be some agendas from certain people. But I don't think there's this evil agenda to take down the black race, like within the whole.
What do you mean, Margaret Sanger?
I think there is certain elements of that.
That's what I said. I said there's people that are in it for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the overarching thing is money. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the mammon.
I think
you know what I mean?
that's
the motivator.
That is the multiple. That's the word. That is the motivator that is used. But I think
the arts.
I think one of the concepts behind it is to keep certain people in power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the play.
But it happened. But that same thing could be explained with the TV genre, because us specifically, people in their late 30s, early 40s, 50s, there was a shift in programming television.
Mhm.
Bill Cosby, the Cosbys,
Yeah.
All the shows that were Family Matters,
Yeah.
to all of us, Silly, Monique, the
Yeah.
Wayans brother,
Right.
Homeboys in Outer Space. There was a shift.
Yeah,
You know what I
mean, I don't know. I think that is a little bit different. I think that shift was just across the board, because when you look at it, same time Family Matters and all those shows were out. You still had Martin. You had
But what I'm saying is,
In Living Color. You know what I
have
mean?
to look at the people who are going to be like, when people are attracted to something,
Yeah.
they're going to go right to it. Like, if all you present is that, that's what they're going to like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is, like, I think across the board, it became more about, because think about it, what blew up the real world.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
all of these shows.
No, I'm not saying it's a racial thing. I'm
Yeah.
saying there was definitely a change in. It happened in the white world too.
Yeah.
But the black community, the culture.
Yeah.
We gotta identify. So it's more of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's responsibility again. Like,
Yeah.
like it. Who's gonna be responsible? You know.
Yeah.
Money causes you not to be responsible.
Yeah.
I was just saying that to Shaniqua. We were talking about this. I was like, I remember hearing songs, "My baby mom," my baby father. Like it became okay.
Yeah.
Like it
normalizes it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To where it's like that's just normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's what it is.
Just like they
But
normalize abortions.
It's the racial element. We could put that aside, but the monetary element is definitely,
Yeah, I think it's definitely a programming element. I agree with that.
But here's the thing, because we're so focused on the race thing that we didn't see it in rock, alternative, all the other genres. Like we talk about television show, because look, Al Bundy showed up. The era of the couch potato, the lazy guy. He don't know nothing.
The dads that aren't worth anything.
It's across the board, but
Yeah.
because we're trying to again. By going the racial component, it just becomes a black and white thing.
Mhm.
When we're looking at the destruction of the family unit,
right?
Chaotic culture, slacker culture, seek pleasures, and that's what hip hop was. But that's no different than Motley Crue, girls. It's just,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or somebody like who's the dude from England that bit off the head? Ozzy
Osbourne. Yeah.
It's just I think with the hip hop became so. It was like a burning fire so you could attack it.
Yeah, and I think when you look at like an Ozzy Osbourne, he's still seen as ridiculous. Like no one is. He doesn't influence family members. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop became a part of life.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
There's a subset of culture that.
Yeah, that's different though. Like having a sect of people that follow that for it to be the overarching idea of what the culture
changes
is.
throughout. Like it changes, but it definitely caused people to move in a different direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like all that stuff with the rock. Yeah, it's
Nirvana, grunge,
the
all
emo,
that stuff.
It influenced the emo.
Yeah, I remember hearing that from some of my friends. Oh man, that's devil stuff. But they'll listen to
Nirvana. Yeah, but I mean, I just don't think it completely overarched everything the way hip hop has. Like, I mean, there's different groups that follow certain things, but hip hop.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say hip hop is literally like what's going on. With like, it's not. It's you're speaking, you're rapping about what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So it's literally cultural.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like you're speaking about what's happening in your area, in your city. And,
Actually, NWA did do that a little bit. It wasn't always just. I mean, it was the genre of gangsta, but they did talk about
corruption.
It talked about everything, but what I'm saying is like for it to become so infectious. Like you look at hip hop now. Look at TikTok. All these even the young little white kids are obsessed with hip hop. It's infecting their.
I talked about this before. I watched a documentary on Korea.
Yeah.
Right. And I just was watching it, and
I was just
I know you're talking about.
No,
hip hop culture there.
Yes.
Yeah.
How
Japan too has it.
Yeah. South Korea and Japan. It went to Japan. Just the influence
And
of.
they're in blackface. But it's
Yo,
not.
they're pretty much
it's
like
not to,
they're wearing braids. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Remember, I was
Yeah.
saying like they have like salons that
Make your
they
hair
do
look
their
like
hair
afro,
and then
yeah.
they
It's not
they
done.
do this
It's
thing.
not done in blackface of
Yeah.
satire.
Right. Yeah.
It's more homage.
Right.
Yeah, they really love hip hop.
Yeah.
Just by how they dress.
Yeah.
Like Koreans can freaking dance,
Yeah.
yo. I watched some dance videos. Like
They're like
Japanese.
Asian. They're like,
huh?
I said so the Japanese because what did I say?
Yeah.
Because when I lived out there, you walk down the street and that's all they're doing. They're dancing to hip hop. They're like all dressed like dressed
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
culture. It's
Yeah.
like Asian
their whole
B-Rads.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah, they were really
Yeah,
influenced.
I might have seen the same one you saw.
Yeah.
It really influenced
I
by
was
the
at
hip hop culture.
I was at the bubble tea place the other day, and they had K-pop on the screen, and it was just like
I can't.
Just watching their emulation of what they think like coolness is, and it's like all derived from American,
but in very feminine features.
Yeah,
Yes, very.
yeah. But they're like all trying to be cool. They're like doing all the things, and it's like it to me it's just like so cringy because it's like. It's acting, you know what I mean? It's just like, but it's something that,
but it's a subset of what has been cultivated.
Right.
They wanted their so basically they're really paying homage. They want their own version of it.
Yeah.
They want their own version of
But what
American
that's my
art.
point is like, what else has infected other cultures in that way?
Yeah.
Like think about it. Like it hasn't like there's little pockets here and there where there'll be like a deadhead crew in Japan somewhere, I'm sure. You know what I mean? But like the way
I definitely think hip hop has done that, but it's so raw, like in terms of like it's so wild.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That maybe it's that aspect of it that is intriguing, especially to the world. You know?
Well, there's danger there. You know what I mean? So it's like anything that seems dangerous, people are going to be attracted to it. It's like, do you know, like when Prohibition?
Hold on, I gotta give a shout out to our boy Q. Just jumped into the chat. He said, "Peace, fellas. What's up, man?" Q from NJ5.
Oh, what's up, bro?
Good to see you, man. But what was you saying?
I forgot.
my bad. I had to shout
You said
him
something
out.
about danger there.
I was reading this thing where it talked about when Prohibition was ended, like alcohol consumption dropped like
Yep.
You know what I mean? They had to like come up with commercials and Coke, drink this beer. It helps you do this because
Right.
people could care less anymore.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So anything that seems don't listen to hip hop, it's dangerous, or don't do this.
Yeah.
You run to it. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And part of it is kids are naturally attracted to
Right.
you know.
So
the
what's
things
going to
that-
happen is like once it's fully embraced by the whites, blacks aren't going to want it anymore. Just like every other genre, it's like
Indians. It has to be Indians.
no. In this country, it's whites because think about it. It's happened with every other genre, right? Like blacks did blues first, jazz, rock and roll, like everything. And as soon as like whites oversaturated, it was like, all right, we need something else, y'all. This is not fun anymore. Like,
We're gonna go to trap.
Yeah, now it's trap. Then you're gonna get all these white trap rappers. Like who's the guy that's blowing up now? He's like the biggest white star. Always see him on everything. Jack Harlow.
yeah.
Jack Harlow. Yeah,
I have no idea who that is.
Jack Harlow. He's like
Skinny dude, right?
yeah. He's becoming like the white Drake, basically. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's about over for trap music. We're gonna come up with something else. Yeah. Q said Erykah Badu said it best. Hip hop is bigger than religion. That's true. That is true. Yeah. But there's a reason why, we need to bring God back into everything, because there's a reason why Kendrick Lamar is dropping what he's dropping, because the stuff that he's seeing go on in the culture, you know what I mean?
And I think that's the issue. Like, people are always trying to go to one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
right? And it, because like if you, everything is like rock and roll is bad.
Yeah.
Blues
It's the devil.
Is the devil.
Everything
right?
was the devil.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it just creates a subset all the way to the other side. Like the prohibition, same thing. Like abortion needs to. I mean, abortion.
Liquor
needs to be outlawed, right?
Yeah.
But then you have people who want it to be outlawed, but then the
But
Baptists.
Remember the thing that we watched about Rockefeller, about he was the main one funding that that campaign to bring prohibition because he didn't want alcohol competing with oil as a fuel source.
Right.
Like that was the main motivation for getting alcohol banned back then.
Right. But then you got other interests like people who start making money off of it, more money off of it because it's illegal.
Right.
They don't want it legalized again.
The Kennedys. Yep. yeah.
But
I think that's what people don't understand. We don't like when you say that, like, because the word conspiracy theorist has been so like
it's weaponized.
It's weaponized. So if the minute you mention that, you don't want to seem like the idiot because now you have to prove to everybody,
right?
And you can't sit down and go through everything.
Yeah.
But when you go when you start to analyze this, like what is the agenda? The agenda with music, we know, is to frame culture, but more importantly, to make a lot of people rich.
Yeah.
A lot of people have become very wealthy distributing this. They may not even listen to it.
They don't.
But they distribute
It's
it.
just like the Facebook thing, right? It's like, yeah, we developed this and we sell it to all of y'all, but I don't let my kids use it.
That was the guy who said that, right?
Yeah.
There was a quote from the guy who did Lunchables.
Yeah. He said the same thing. I don't let my kids eat this. Steve Jobs wouldn't let his kids have an iPad or an Apple iPhone. He wouldn't let them have one. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, I'll sell it to you.
I'll sell it to you.
But I know it's dangerous. You know what I mean?
Right. So I think because a lot of people don't understand that. So we just think something is new and innovative.
Yeah.
We don't understand how it works. You know what I mean?
And I think that's the problem. Like because we want new.
Yeah.
But you can't, just because it's new, don't mean you can be responsible for it. Like there's always a responsibility.
Yeah.
And people are so quick to do the new thing, right? But they don't know what that's gonna, like the vaccine stuff.
They're not
like,
careful with it.
Yeah.
They just go gung ho
because it's going to fulfill some kind of desire.
Right.
That,
but then you have the other end of that extreme, which is the people shouting it down, like, like you were saying, rock and roll is the devil. You know what I mean? Hip hop is the devil. Yeah. Technology is the devil. It's like you can't eat. Both of those approaches are not the right one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they both all they do is fight each other, and then
you got to take time, and you got to process these things.
And times change, like for me, it's funny because I do see, like, I grew up in a place where there was no technology.
Yeah.
And I see my daughter now at 4, she's like reading and then she's doing like math and stuff and it's all because of this. It's accessible. You know what I mean? But giving her a pen and being like, do some math.
Right.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And she's going to live in a world where she may not even write a letter.
Yeah. Like writing might be obsolete soon.
Might be obsolete. She may be talking to something and it does it for her.
The idea, the concept of using a utensil to write letters might go away. You know? And I think because we struggle, because we've done it, so we're like, I did that, you have to do that. Yeah.
So
learning cursive, think about that.
Right.
Yeah, they don't even teach cursive.
What's
anymore.
the point of it anymore?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So but I could see how much she has learned from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How she's and I'm like, wow, it's amazing, like I said. But you as the parent or the adult, you should limit that. It's like think about it. When your parents said hip hop was trash, you may not play it around them. But as soon as
my parents didn't say that.
No, your dad was cool. Your mom may have.
She never did either.
She never did. Okay.
She never did. I mean, she would make comments about like, why are you listening to that? Because it would have curses in it or something.
Right,
you know what I mean? But she never was like, don't listen. She never took that approach with us. Maybe she should have. I don't know. But I remember listening to Run DMC when I was 8 years old, like singing those songs.
I hid and listened to it.
Yeah. Okay, so with my dad, same thing.
Yeah.
He's like, don't even touch
Yeah.
that.
You had to hide and listen
I had
to
to hide
it.
and
Yeah.
listen to it. But like even when I listen to like Steel Pulse, because reggae is reggae in the Caribbean
is the devil music. See, even Still Pulse, like I would think like Buju Banton.
Yeah,
like
that
Bounty
definitely,
Killer. Yeah,
that definitely.
Yeah.
But they put it in the same pot.
Okay.
So it was all.
It was again no
Because it was-
subgenres, man. What's
right.
going on?
Nope.
Got to have subgenres.
Well, reggae. So reggae actually does have subs.
I know, but I'm saying like people that consider all that the same.
If you a Pentecostal type,
yeah,
it's all.
Yeah.
So let me ask y'all a question. So because I know James, you dealt with this. I know Stan definitely dealt with this. Like when your parents are saying like, "Don't do this," you know, do you ask them why? Did you ask them why? Like, why don't you listen to this? Why could you ask them, or they were just like,
nah,
don't do this?
I think James waited until he was 30 to ask.
I would ask, but my dad would get angry. He wouldn't explain. My mother would try to, but my dad didn't want. He just don't do it. You know, where my dad did explain was the character of becoming a man. Like he would go like, you know, he would give me that. But the music thing and entertainment, he wouldn't explain that, especially with music, because he liked. Because I remember one time when I was much older, like Jamie said, I wasn't in my 30s, but I was in my late 20s, and I was talking about he was listening to "Strangers in the Night" by Frank Sinatra. Strangers in the night.
Yeah, he would love listening to that.
Yeah, he
type
loves
of
it
stuff.
because it's
Like,
orchestral.
Yeah.
So it's
to him
the
that's
melody.
safe. That's safe music.
The melody,
Yeah.
but it's talking about a one night stand.
Yeah, right.
You know, so when I
could be cheating, they might all. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
Strangers in the night,
exchanging glances, like sound a little creepy going on.
You know, it's not talking about buying muffins. So when I would do that, he would get angry because he's recognizing it. He's like, dang, if that ain't.
Yeah.
I could see him like think what.
Or you would challenge him because he would talk about the movies you're watching,
movies, yeah.
and you're like, "But you like Arnold Schwarzenegger?"
Yeah,
and
it's,
like,
it's, you know.
yeah.
I think it's just. I know what I as a parent now. I know what he was trying to do, but because there wasn't an explanation, it made me ignore. After a while, I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just ignored him. You know what I mean?
And I mean, it's important because that's where you lose a generation.
Yeah,
and they did.
You know what I mean?
A lot of them lost their generation because I'm not saying just give your kids whatever they want, do whatever they want, but explaining and breaking things down to them.
Yeah.
Or even if they come to you with something, give it a shot.
Yeah.
But then at that moment, telling them this is trash, throw that away.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember I
probably
used to do that with my dad with music. Like I would show him like
we would always
this is
show
what
him
I'm
stuff.
listening to.
Yep.
And he, I'm like, okay, I can see why you would like that.
Yeah.
But then he'd tell me like sometimes it'd be like a
like with the Fugees, we showed him the Score album,
right?
Because we loved that album when it came out, and then he would be like, "Well, let me show you where this came from."
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And that's when he showed us the Flamingos, like, what's the song? "Only Have Eyes for You," because they sampled that, and then I heard that song, and I was like, "Yo, this joint is crazy!" And it became like one of my favorite songs for the longest, like, because he would do that. He would say, "Let me show you where this came from." You know? What I mean?
So, like that was, I like that with my dad, and I with my kids, like whenever they like they're to the point now they ask me questions about everything. Like I'll tell them, you know, don't do this or don't do that, but here's why.
Yeah.
Right. So now they'll like ask me. Even my 5-year-old Lucas, he asked me like, we were talking about like meditation because his class they put on like a meditation video, like a yoga video, and I'm like, yeah, you don't want to do that, so he was like, well, what's the problem with it, Dad? Like, but he already knows like
you're gonna tell him why.
I'm gonna explain it to him, right? He's already open to that, and I told him, make sure you ask me about it because I'll explain why. So they already know, like they're not even afraid to ask. You know what I mean? Because it's the relationship we cultivated.
Right.
So and I noticed that with him because he's so young, and he does it because his brother and his sisters do it.
Right.
So he just gets it from them. Like I had to tell them more than him.
Right.
Now because he sees them do it, he just automatically just asks me.
Right.
Right. So then I can just talking. Well, this is why, and go into it in a way where he can kind of understand it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, okay, like
yeah. I know I'm not castigating the generations before us. I think they genuinely had love for their kids and they wanted to teach, but because they didn't know, they just dismissed it as.
And they came from an era of just do what I said.
Just do what I say.
There's no explanation.
Because then it's like you're talking back now.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. You're being disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know all the information. Like you and I talked about this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if our kids, like our kids are babies, but when they get to a certain age and they come to us and they say, I want Jordans.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, Jordans are too expensive. You ain't got no money for that.
Right.
That's a great teaching tool if you could stop and be like, why do you want it?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Why?
And
what do you know about Michael
What
Jordan?
do you know about Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
And then let them, because now you can decipher who told you Michael Jordan this was value. Because you don't, you
Why
never
do
seen
you
it
care
play.
what that person thinks?
Don't just dismiss it. Don't just, it's too expensive. You ain't got no money. Go to your room.
Right.
If you
ain't buying you that.
which is what would happen. But tell me why.
Yeah. But I think like your dads were kind of closer in age, right?
Yeah.
So like
Well, also his dad came from a totally different culture.
Yeah.
Right, but still like
the religion was
yeah, and then dad was like preacher's kid, like 70s love, you know, free love type. So he came from a different generation than their dads.
Yeah.
Like
Your dad would have been us.
Right.
Stan and I. Like turning their back from
because our grandfather was the Reverend, you know, Baptist Reverend.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that like, but the issue with that stuff was because it was even in my dad, like, in terms of how they treated women, like you better submit to me. Like even my dad had some of that, like in the wrong way. You know what I mean? And it spills over. So like just how you deal with how you relate to your kids, how you relate to your wife, like it's just a little off, and then it just. The next generation sees that and then they go
even further.
They go totally the opposite way. It's a you know, like again, it's that
Pendulum.
mirror
type
thing. You see it, it's backwards now, you know.
Yeah. I remember when the first time I found out about the pastors buying Bentleys, I was like, that ain't right.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't doing it from the eyes of like, why you have a Bentley and I don't.
Right.
I was looking at it from the standpoint of my mom was going through cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And we were struggling with bills.
Right.
And my mom was like trying to make sure she had that tithe money.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't from the jealousy, he's driving a Bentley and I'm not driving a Bentley.
Right.
Which is what most people would think. It was more to do with, wait, you're taking money to, because I remember, and I'm not going to mention the church, you know, but I remember them basically saying, you all need to give more because our pastor deserves
this.
Deserves this.
Yeah.
I was not on staff, but I was in the serving. So this wasn't for the regular patrons. This was more to do with the sort of usher types. You know, the ministry leader, the spokesperson was castigating the crowd as y'all ain't step. I want my pastor to look good.
Don't y'all think y'all pastor deserves this?
And that's when it hit me, and I was like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to my dad about that, and I asked him, and and he basically told me, don't waste your time thinking about stuff like that. And that's when I was like, all right, I can't ask you nothing.
Yeah.
Because at that moment, I realized because years later, I confronted him about that. I was like, why did you tell me that? And he was like, honestly, I didn't know how to answer that, and I didn't want you turning from the faith because those things can lock you out if you focus on them. And I didn't know how to address that. I was like, but don't you think?
But isn't that more? It'd be better to be
That was-
be
yeah,
honest.
That answer right there was a good answer.
Yeah.
So I was like, but this did lock me out,
right?
You know, because at that point in time, I didn't give up on it, but I was like, this is foolishness.
Yeah.
You know.
So it was his fear.
It was his
actually,
fear,
and it seems like your fears, what you fear, comes upon you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And luckily, I didn't go too far, but I could have.
Right.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I learned from that if Sophia comes to me and says, "Dad," or Alonzo, and they come and say, "Dad, what is this?" If I don't have the answer, listen, I don't have it right now. Let me do some research. I will discuss
Or let's
it.
research it together.
Let me take that question and come back to you.
Right.
very
Yes.
quickly.
Right.
Yes.
It ain't gonna be. Boy,
Don't be asking. Don't you question God.
Right. He didn't do it like that, but he was more or less like, don't focus on it. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
You know what I mean? Don't worry about
That's
that.
That's not your business.
He knew it. He knew it was wrong too.
Yeah.
And he did feel that way, but he didn't know how to tell me because he was afraid that I would,
And sometimes, like, even things like that don't make sense to children, like, they don't need to know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, there's a reason why, but you'll find out. Like, sometimes children just gotta trust their parents, like, in certain things, because certain things you can, like, but wait, like, little things, like, but how come she got that and I don't, like, it's not fair.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not seeing it the right way, but you gotta trust me. I got you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the Christian world that we don't talk about is you're absolutely right about children, but now when they come young adults and they come young women and women, you can't use that same tactic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is
well, you can, because in terms of how we are, I'm just saying, like, we are that way in terms of God. We're children in terms of the spirit realm.
Yeah.
We don't understand, so we can't, like, we might not understand certain things, and we have to honor him. Now, in terms of, like, what he's doing. Now, sometimes there might, like, with, like, your situation, there's different agendas, but I'm just saying, like, ultimately, if I put my trust in God, he'll work that out for me. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if I'm under somebody, this stuff not going right, you know what I mean? If I put my trust in God, then he's going to work that out, right? He's going to bring me into that truth.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
for me, it was more to do with, like, even if he said, let's do some script, I wouldn't have, because what happened was I tuned him out. I didn't confront him anymore.
Yeah.
But I basically was like, I'm not asking you nothing. You know what I mean? I'm not asking you anything. Nope. I don't want to, I'm going to go do my own research. But here's the thing about that. That's dangerous too, because right then and there, I could have been led to many different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just didn't go, but I could have.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could risk that too. It's like, even when, like, we can't, in Trinidad, there's no evolution. Maybe now it's changed, but when we were growing up, they didn't even bother. That wasn't even a thing. So when we came here, that was huge for us because we grew up in a Judeo-Christian, kind of environment, and there's no.
Yeah, y'all essentially went to Catholic school, right?
Essentially went to Catholic school, and they did teach creation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So coming here, that was wow. But I remember, well, what do we do? And it was like, well, you just take the test, but that's not true. Just. Go through the process, but that's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in that way, they handle that. I never believed it, but I feel like by those things happening, I now know when my kids come to me, I'm going to kind of, I want to understand where they're coming from with this. Like, but let's figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Let's do the research.
It's okay not to know.
Yeah.
It's okay not to know, And
I think even leaders should be like that. Like, I feel like sometimes leaders feel, the same thing. And I'm saying in churches too, like, they feel like they have to have all the answers. Like,
you're addicted to that.
No, we're learning.
It's the power. We were talked about that before.
Yeah.
Like, think about, like, in the village, right? If you're the wise man or the witch doctor, right?
Yeah.
Like, if people come to you for answers for something and you don't have the answers,
you're gonna make it up.
They might get rid of your ass.
Yes.
So you got to always have an answer. Oh, let me take these twigs, put them in this formation.
Yeah.
Yes. You got a big toe. See, that's the spirits are saying you need to go ahead and cleanse yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to come with it. You got to.
But the doctors do it too.
Yeah, right. The
doctors do it too. This is one of the things I've said. If you take your kid enough, with some scare that they have something, they'll find
something to give you.
They'll find something.
Yeah.
He has this.
Oh, I wanted to mention too. You brought up the meditation thing. You were saying that your kids have, like, this emotional wellness classes that they do.
Yeah.
Right. Are you guys getting that in your school? Your schools?
Not that I know of.
Yeah. I asked my kids because after you told me, I'm like, I gotta.
I'm gonna ask Noe too.
I was like, are they doing any kind of, like, emotional wellness where you guys have to sit and, like, think about your well-being and do meditation and yoga? Because I did hear about this. I've heard about it on Twitter. I've heard people, like, talking about it, but I never checked with my kids.
We shared a article that I sent. We talked about it like months ago.
But apparently,
yoga.
Your kids are experiencing this, right?
Yeah.
So I asked mine, and they were like, "What? That's weird as heck." Heck no. And I was like, I was like, "Well, your cousins told your uncle that they're making them like do meditation and like yoga poses and stuff," and they were like, "No." So they were both like, "What? Like that's the weirdest thing ever."
Yeah.
I was like, "Don't let them try
pose.
to." I was like, "Don't let them try to make you guys do any of that stuff. Let me know if they start trying to teach y'all that stuff."
Yeah, and the thing was like, because I talked to them so much about all this, like they already know.
Yeah.
Like they already know, like it's all that. So they're telling me about it.
Yeah.
Like this is what's going on, and we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so
because they're doing it in like gym and stuff.
No, not in gym. It's like in this class.
It's just a class.
In the class, they're like doing breathing exercises to be able to like work through
your
not get
anxieties.
angry.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And also like a tree pose.
Get very angry.
A tree pose for yoga.
Yeah.
For yoga, tree pose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Learning that.
You're a tree.
And I was like,
become the tree.
Yeah.
Take in the oxygen.
Unless it's a Republican. Then get very angry. Them little trash cans.
Right.
So like, you have to like. I want to equip my kids. I don't want to like try to guard them from everything.
Yeah.
Because as they grow older, they got to know how to deal with these things.
And be prepared for it. Yeah.
So, but it was just cool to see how like they were telling me about it, and they already know, they're already dealing with it.
Yeah.
But then they're just asking me like more, what do we do?
That's because of your preparation. Though.
And sometimes too, honestly, aside from just, you give your kids, you don't have to pound in their head. From the first time I remember when I came to the United States in high school, and the first time I went to a party and I saw drunken high people, I was like, I don't want that.
That ain't for me. That is
throwing
not
up
for
everywhere.
me.
People taking pictures.
Right, drawing penises on foreheads.
Yeah, I saw when I saw the ridiculousness of that.
Yeah,
I was like, I can't let that happen to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
like
they immediately turned on this person.
Yeah,
so I was like, nah.
That's like them seeing their dad and John's dad fighting. That's not for me.
Definitely.
Listen,
that is not for me.
From knowing that dad in a short time, I can't believe that because he was so. I mean, maybe he was a hothead when he was younger, but he was such a nice,
chill.
But that was a hothead all the time.
Yeah.
You never saw that side.
I didn't see that side
of him. You never saw that side because you never gave him a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely had that in him at all times. John never saw that side of him either. He was just gentle and nice to him at all times.
I saw your dad.
No, I said you saw him get heated?
I saw him and my dad arguing.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah. Your dad used to, man, they used to bump heads so hard.
Yeah. I don't know that.
Yeah.
I love Mr. Eds. He always try to teach you a lesson.
Always. He was the ultimate teacher, bro.
We used to hang out at, his apartment all the time where we rehearsed. And I remember one time he came home from a trip. We had hung out over there, right? We came for rehearsal. He was sitting there.
I know exactly what story you.
He was like,
because my dad won't tell you like I'm about to teach y'all a lesson.
Yeah.
He'll just go into the lesson. He was like blindside you.
He was like, Mom, let me see your wallet. Jake, let me see your wallet.
Everybody get your wallets out.
Get the wallet.
Yeah.
He threw that shit. Wow.
So yeah. He started tossing wallets all over the place. Threw that wallet over there, that one behind the TV, under the couch. And we just all sitting there like, what are you doing?
What? I'm confused. How's it feel?
Yeah.
Right? That's what he said to us, right?
He was like, how's that feel? Not good. That's how I feel every fucking time I come home and my remote control is over there and my other remote control is over there. I can't turn my TV on. I don't know.
Yeah.
So from that
language.
But from that moment on, we didn't do that. We never did that again.
The remote is where they need.
We still partied at his house.
Yeah,
But we always up.
We put everything back where it was, bro. Because he made that point. He made that point. Remember the one time he taught us a lesson and he pulled out the shotgun You remember that? I don't even remember what that was about. But he literally like took out 2 shells from his pocket. He licked it, or like he like kissed it or something, and put it in the double barrel shotgun and closed that joint and just started pointing it. We was like, we all jumped behind the couch. Like, I forget what his message was.
Why don't I remember this?
You don't remember this?
Why don't I remember this?
You don't remember
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD.
I don't want to be
That might have
Chatan
been
no
something
more.
with you and somebody else.
No, it was us.
I'm a join. What's that Korean group? BKS.
BTS. Yeah, no, my dad was the next level, bro. Like you have no idea. But I understood because he was letting us use. He would go out of town and still let everyone come there, rehearse. We would rehearse there. We move his stuff around so we could, practice our pop locking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And all he asks is that when he gets home, things are back the way he left them. You know what I mean?
Y'all in honor of that.
Yeah. And my dad was extremely neat. Like the one thing about him was like he was a very neat guy. He liked everything where he left it. His apartment was always clean. His house was always clean. So he didn't was
Jamie didn't get none of that.
No. Nope. But yeah, that was. I knew you were gonna tell that story because
I love that story.
Yeah, that was funny, bro. Like he didn't warn us or nothing. He didn't say like, yo. He didn't even tell us ahead of time like, yo, I couldn't find my stuff. You know what I mean? He just let us come to rehearsal. Yeah. Like it was normal.
Shock therapy.
He said hi to everybody. Gave us hugs, and then everybody was sitting down about to start. We all sitting there happy. He's like, hey, Simone. Let me see. You got your wallet on you? Let me see your wallet. Yeah, just put it right here. Brian, put your wallet right there. Everybody's looking like, what? Why? We all took our wallets out. And then he just grabbed and started throwing them. Boom! Throwing them everywhere.
I think mine went behind the TV. Yeah, those
big entertainment centers.
TVs.
Yeah, that was
You
funny.
reach
Boy.
behind there, spider web.
Yep.
All right, on that note, let's wrap it up, man. We're at 2:46. Thank you guys for watching. We didn't do any rendezvous tonight because we didn't feel like it. But we appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know you sent the link. I saw it. I just never posted
Actually,
it.
I had to close it out because my CPU was bumping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I closed it, it went back to normal.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, we talked about a lot of stuff. Guys, if you like what we're doing, if you like what we're talking about, the topics we're addressing, you can support, become a part of this, and you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/youngliontv, sign up on there, become a member, subscribe, and then you get access to a lot of extra content that we're going to be doing and some other perks. They're all listed on there. But if you want to get the merch or if you want to just donate to the cause, you can hit the Cash App. It's $YoungLionTV on Cash App. And then the website is Chatan.com for merch, music, all that good stuff. Stay tuned with us, guys. We're going to build this thing up as much as we can. And we'll see you next week, God willing. Thank you for watching. We're going to get out of here.
Go live, yeah. Young lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah. Go and fight people in.